aerial view of Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. Interleague play in 2008 continues tonight. It's game one between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Detroit Tigers. Two of the best managers in the major leagues square off, and two good friends. Tony La Russa over 2,400 wins for the St. Louis Cardinals, and Jim Leyland used to be in the National League. Now he's won an American League pennant with the Tigers, over 1,200 wins in his major league career. That's Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to the broadcast booth here at Comerica Park. Should be interesting tonight because Detroit, Al, is playing great baseball, so we catch them at probably the worst time we could see them this year.
Well, they've won 12 of the last 15. They're really starting to play like people thought they would at the beginning of the season. And don't count them out in the American League Central. I think they're posed to make a charge.
Let's take a look at our Ford Key matchup, and it's the way that the Cardinals have played the last two seasons here in Detroit. It is ugly. If you don't like to look at ugly things, turn your head, because the Cardinals have yet to win a game in regular season play here at Comerica.
Now look at the batting average for the Tigers. Look at the ERA for the Cardinals. That speaks volumes and why the Cardinals are 0-6. And matter of fact, in 9 attempts here in interleague play, they've only won one time, and that was back in 2001.
All right, let's take a look at our starting pitchers as we head to break. Of course, we saw him in the World Series. Braden Looper pitching for St. Louis at that point out of the bullpen. We saw him in Game 2, the only win for Detroit in the 06 Classic. Kenny Rogers, baseball is next. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. By Auto Tire, for the lowest prices in town with 26 locations to serve you. You ought to go to Auto Tire, the tire pros. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Geico Direct, a 15-minute phone call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Southwest Airlines. With Southwest Airlines, you're now free to be more productive. Visit southwest.com today. Detroit has been red hot, especially here at home. They have swept their last 2 3-game series here at Comerica Park and won 12 of the past 15 games overall, and right back in the race in the American League Central Division. Just a few moments ago, Al, Mickey Lolich with our first pitch. Phil Freehan is the catcher there, but he missed it.
Well, I missed it, but 3-game winner in the '68 World Series for Mickey Lolich, and of course Freehan from St. Petersburg, the site of the former spring training site for the Cardinals. And Tony's trying to win number 1100 as a Cardinal.
Cardinals have won their last 6 road series, and here's a look at their offense. Surprising is Adam Kennedy. This month he's hitting .349. That's not surprising because he's gotten hot at the plate. But look where he's playing. He'll be at first base tonight with the lefty Kenny Rogers on the mound. So Rogers goes for Detroit. The Cardinals on their bench a little shorthanded with Duncan, Schumacher hitting from the left side. Then Jason LaRue, you got to save him. So Adam Kennedy gets the start at first base tonight.
Well, now they're playing one player short with an extra bullpenner. And I don't know how long you can do that, but Tony La Russa finds a way to do it, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Our Rico starter is Kenny Rogers, still going strong past the age of 40. And he has been hot as a starter for the Detroit Tigers in his last 5 starts, overall 5-4.
Yeah, but he's only won one time in those last 5 starts, but he's been outstanding every time. This is one of the best left-handers still in the game, and over 40. He's 43 years of age and still going strong.
Let's take a look at the Tigers defense. Some changes for Jim Leyland from the start of the season. We'll highlight Edgar Renteria, the former Cardinal. He'll play up the middle along with Placido Polanco. .983 fielding percentage this season, 3rd best in the American League as far as shortstops are concerned. Tim's in left. Granderson can really cover some ground. He's in center. Ordonez is in right. Guillen, Renteria, Polanco, and Cabrera, the former Marlin, over at first. And Pudge Rodriguez is behind the plate. And there's a look at Jim Leyland. Gene Lamont right behind him. Andy Van Slyke also on his coaching staff.
Got this team playing pretty well. A team that everybody thought was going to be maybe one of the greatest offensive forces to start the season. It didn't happen that way.
And the first pitch to Brian Barton is taken low at 83 miles an hour. Barton is hitting .245 with a home run and 9 RBIs. He started on Sunday in Fenway Park. The 1-0 pitch.
I'll tell you one thing, that may be a good sign for the Cardinals with Laz Diaz, the home plate umpire, not calling those first two deliveries. Kenny Rogers threw those balls exactly where he wants it. The Cardinals want to get him up, though.
2 balls and a strike. At 43, how deep can he go into a game?
Well, I think it all kind of depends. He's a pitcher to contact, control type pitcher. The difference in the last 5 games is he's spotting his pitches.
And Barton looks at a ball down and in, 3 balls and 1 strike.
He has walked as many as he struck out. At about 90 innings, he's walked 36 and struck out 36.
Comerica Park tonight is packed, and there's a lot of red in the seats as we play in game 1 of this 3-game series between the Cardinals and Tigers. And Barton jumps on the pitch out to deep center field. Granderson is back, misplayed it a bit, goes all the way to the track, and Barton on his way to second base with a leadoff double. He got spun around out there in center field.
Barton got a big double in Sunday's contest coming off the bench, but I think he surprised Granderson by hitting this ball so far. He went straight back and it was off to his left, so it gets down easily, and Barton with that good speed just coasting to second with his stand-up double.
And Al Miguel Cabrera was trailing the play, and the throw came into second base. He put a tag on Barton, and he thought Barton never called time, and he pled his case to the second base umpire as if to say he should be out. And the second base umpire said absolutely not. He's in there safely. So Barton in there with a leadoff double. How about Aaron Miles in the way that he's been swinging the bat? The switch hitter doing a little bit of everything, and now will try to bunt his way on. This is a tough play. Throw to first. They just got him. And Barton advances all the way to third and thought about coming to the plate with no one covering. Let's see if Barton did indeed call for timeout after the double.
You see him coast into second base. He looks back. Now he'll call time. So he walks off. Cabrera tags him, but clearly Paul Schreiber had the play right with the timeout call.
So the sacrifice was good. Aaron Miles coming off 5 hits over the weekend in just 1 game. And a real good series at Fenway Park. Saturday homer. Here's Ryan Ludwig. Of his 56 RBIs, 37 have come on the road. That's second best behind Jose Guillen of Kansas City in the major leagues.
Here we are already in the first inning. They pulled the infield in. I just don't understand that.
I don't either, especially with a lineup that's supposed to score as many runs as they have.
Exactly. They're playing good baseball. They're very confident in their ability right now, acting like they can't afford to give up 1 run.
And talking with the Detroit people, and there you see it, Ludwig 37 in the National League to lead the National League in that department as far as road RBIs, and then just 1 back at Kansas City's Guillen. But you talk to the Detroit people, they said even though it's a veteran club, so much was expected of them that at the beginning of the season you could see guys just playing very, very tight, not playing loose. They lost their first 7 games of the season.
Well, a lot of times, you know, starting pitching can make a club looser and play more relaxed. Their starters got off to a slow start, including Kenny Rogers.
You're certainly right about that. Everything is dictated with these starters, and they did not pitch well early on. The 1-1 pitch. Pulled towards third. Barton dives back in, out there, over to first, double play. Guillen the tag of Barton. And then Ludwig grounds into the double play. Kenny Rogers, a little help here in the top of the first for Detroit. Gets the ground ball, the tag, and then the throw to first. Tigers coming up. Pungo traveling with us all season long, and we are in Detroit tonight, game 1 of this 3-game series. And let's take a look at the Tigers lineup here on FSN Midwest. We highlight their leadoff man, Curtis Granderson, 11-game hitting streak and hitting .372 during this streak, followed by the former Cardinal Polanco, and then Guillen, Ordonez, Cabrera, Timms, Sheffield, Renteria, and then Pudge Rodriguez. Our Rico starter, Brain Looper for the Cardinals with a record of 8-5.
8-5, that's 8 wins, is tied for 7th in the National League.
Granderson overall hitting .265, and the first pitch is a strike.
Braden has been very good in the month of June. So is Granderson, but 2-1 ERA, under 2 in 4 June starts for Looper.
9 home runs for the leadoff man for Detroit, and a high fly ball lifted to center. Ricky and Keel is there and puts it away for the first out. Let's meet the Cardinals defensively tonight, brought to you by Auto Tire as we go around the horn. Ryan Barton is in left. Ricky and Keel is in center. Ryan Ludwig is in right. Troy Gloss, Brendan Ryan, Aaron Miles, and Adam Kennedy along the infield. Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Kennedy, his first ever career start at first base. What kind of glove does he have?
Well, Troy Gloss said, hey, don't worry about him over there. I've been bouncing balls to him all of his life. So he'll be fine.
Teammates in Anaheim. Good tailing action on that pitch to Polanco.
First time he's ever started a game at first base, or as far as we can tell, and by his own admission, first time he's ever played first base.
So the Cardinals going with Kennedy over at first and not Duncan. 1 ball, 1 strike on Polanco. Has his average above 300. 3 home runs, 27 driven in 64 games this year for Detroit.
A lot of these clubs last couple weeks have really been swinging the bat.
Ground ball to the right side. Kennedy has to get back to the bag. It's one of those plays where you have to figure out a little bit where to go. Started to go range to his right, then realized I'm at first base. Hold on here. I got to get back to the bag.
Yep, that's not mine. Somebody else's.
So there's 2 outs, and it's Carlos Guillen, their 3rd place hitter. How about this lineup? When you can look at the 8th place hitter in Edgar Renteria, your 9th place hitter is a future Hall of Famer in Pudge Rodriguez. Your 7th place hitter is Gary Sheffield. He might be headed to the Hall of Fame too. It's a pretty good lineup.
Pretty good lineup, and starting to produce.
At home, they're hitting .295. So a real problem that you touched upon early on was pitching. Then after that, probably defense. And then some of their key guys just getting started. Well, that's happening now at the plate. And their pitching is starting to come around. The 0-1 pitch to Guillen. He can play anywhere in the infield. They have him at 3rd base. They tried Miguel Cabrera over there at 3rd base. That didn't work out. Guillen has played shortstop primarily in his career. He's also played over at first base.
But they talking with Gene Lamont, he says Cabrera is a first baseman, and Guillen much better over at 3rd base than Cabrera. Both of them made on the season 10 errors each.
The big blockbuster move for Detroit. Dontrell Willis coming from Florida along with Cabrera. Both signed extensions, and Dontrell Willis is trying to get straightened out in the minor leagues. Signed for nearly $30 million. The pitch was up and lined into the seats.
And they gave up an awful lot of young talent to acquire those 2
Very
veterans.
good center fielder, and we saw Andrew Miller, the tall lefty that they drafted early in a couple of years ago in the draft. 17th season as a manager for Jim Leyland with Pittsburgh and Florida. Won a World Series title.
I wouldn't count this team out.
No.
I think nobody's really trying to take charge, especially the White Sox after being swept by the Cubs.
Positioned perfectly is Troy Gloss. Good start for Ray Looper. Tigers go 1-2-3. Gloss leads it off when we come back. Detroit with some of the biggest names in baseball. Sheffield, Pudge, Maglio Ordonez, Miguel Cabrera. The Cardinals, some new faces in 2008 and a surprising start as they compete in the Central Division and have a chance for postseason play. Baseball continues tonight on FSN Midwest. And the 2nd inning rolls in here on FSN, and Troy Gloss will lead it off. The Cardinals are 5th in on-base percentage in the league, and they actually fare better in that regard. This may be a little surprising against left-handed pitching. They normally really struggle against the lefties, and this year the Cardinals are 14-13 in 08 against left-handed pitching.
You just find some way somehow this team is very resilient, but a bit surprising with Duncan and Ankiel and Schumacher.
How about the play to end the top of the first? What did you think of the mistake, or was it a mistake by Brian Barton?
Very tough running play for Barton. You know, you get that secondary lead, you're trying to move forward, and then the ball hit like that, and you're trying trapped off. Tough call.
1-1 pitch to Troy Gloss, and he smokes one out to left center field. Granderson on the move, and he's got it. Remember, a few years ago, they moved the fences in. And it's still a very spacious ballpark. It is 420 to dead center field, 330 down the right field line, 345 down the left field line.
This is more indicative of the center fielder that Granderson is, other than the ball that Barton hit. All out there, those bullpens are now, you know, that used to be home run distance. That was all in play out there in the left field. And then they moved the bullpens inside the playing dimensions. You know, one time their flagpole was inside like it was at Tiger Stadium. Now it's back in out of play, back in the bullpen, the visitors' bullpen.
I need to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
What is going through Juan Gonzalez's mind? And I don't remember the exact dollar figure. It was roughly what, 140 or 160 million dollars. And he says,
well, yeah, give me, you know, what's 20 million? Just, you know, chump change.
I don't want to stay here. I don't care if they put the fences back to where that GM sign is. I'm signing.
Well, you know, it was very strange that they made the trade for, at that time, a future Hall of Famer.
No doubt.
And they had the deepest left field in all of baseball. And then they sign a right-handed hitter. You know, they bring in a right-handed hitter to be their marquee player. And then after he rejects that lucrative offer, that he's still got to be kicking himself, but how's his hamstring?
I don't think we've heard much about him.
Yeah.
There's a one-out walk to Ricky and Keel. Baseball report is Friday night. Get a look around the major leagues. Every team is covered all season long. 5:30. The baseball report here on FSN Midwest. But Juan Gonzalez, partner, says, I don't want that contract. I don't want the money. I don't want to play in Detroit. And as you mentioned, they gave up a lot to get him. And in talking with the Detroit people, they did just about anything he wanted. You know, whatever he wanted, they gave it to him. And he still didn't stay.
Didn't stay, and he would have had all that money in the bank.
That is one of the best pickoff moves in baseball. It's been that way for 2 decades.
Well, it's actually now he just moved past Langston recently as the best pickoff move, or has more pickoffs than any other pitcher, and add one more to it. You cannot run off of Kenny Rogers, and the false move by Ankiel does him in. Lifts that leg straight up, and you see Ankiel broke, and it's too late. I mean, that's, I wonder where he's going, because you got the guy with a great move, and then you got traditionally one of the greatest throwing arms behind the plate.
Pudge Rodriguez. Kenny Rogers is a 5-time Gold Glove Award winner. Last year, he was rated as the second best pickoff move in the American League by Baseball America. Who would be the best then?
Well, they say Verlander has the best right-handed pickoff move in all of baseball. But Kenny is now picked off more than anybody else. I think that was 93rd pickoff in his career. And most people don't even try to run off it. I mean, it's been a while since anybody's been successful.
He did something I know that you would like, is that he said Scott Boras is a great agent, was his agent, but I'm happy in Detroit. This is where I want to pitch, and even though he might be able to get me a better deal, I'm at the tail end of my career, and this is where I want to finish. So he said goodbye to Scott Boras and signed an extension with Detroit.
Sometimes you might have a conflict where your agent's trying to force you to go elsewhere for more money, and why if you're happy?
And that's essentially what he said. The 1-2 pitch to Molina. In the dirt, 2-2. Up the middle, it's Renteria and Polanco. Two players that played together in St. Louis from 1999 to 2002, so very familiar with each other. And Placido set a record at second base as far as chances with no errors a year ago. And speaking of Renteria, right to him on a couple of hops over towards Cabrera. Ordonez, Cabrera, and Timms coming up. Our This Date in Baseball History is brought to you by Schnucks. Vince Coleman steals his 40th consecutive base to set a new Major League record. June 24th, 1989 for our This Date in Baseball History. Here is Maglio Ordonez coming up in Kansas City. We're going to take a look at the running Redbirds of Whitey Herzog's teams, the 1980s, opposed to what we see here in 2008. But when you look at 2008, Al, it was an article in USA Today talking about the Boston Red Sox and how they have changed things a little bit. In particular, Jacoby Ellsbury with the steals that he's able to pick up at the running game. The art of stealing bags, it's a lost art anymore in baseball.
Well, one, you have to have somebody that has speed and a knowledge and ability to steal. And it's much more detailed than that. One of the things, you have to be almost fearless. You have to defy the opposition to catch it.
Under the glove of Gloss.
Still a very good sign, as you've seen, a ground ball. Usually when Looper gets ground balls, you mean he's going to have a very good ball game.
Last Leo is just above 300 out.
And Gloss goes to his left. He is ranked as the #1 defensive third baseman in the National League in fielding percentage. And Andy Van Slyke over there instructing. Talking about Andy, about his son. Both of us asked him about AJ, who is now released from the Cardinal organization and playing with the Gateway team.
And his other son in the Dodgers organization has just been bumped up to a little higher league in rookie ball.
He's in California League, so he moves to the California League from rookie ball. And his other son is transferring to Michigan to play football.
Rich Rodriguez, big news as he transferred from West Virginia to Michigan. Double play ball. How about that? Ryan to Miles over to first. He got a glove on it, and that probably saved his life.
Just talking about those ground balls, you know, Looper acquiring ground balls. Few of them are going to go through, but you can always have the ability to turn two.
Sunday, the groundbreaking Emmy Award-winning show that combines sports and science returns. This week, we shine a new light on some of the tricks of the trade that give the best an edge over the rest. Sports Science examines tricks of the trade Sunday at 9, only here on FSN Midwest. Ball was scorched off the bat of Miguel Cabrera, who has only 10 home runs. There's a broken bat popped up. Kennedy in foul territory. He'll put it away. So the double play helps out, and we head to the third. And there's no score here in Detroit. Back at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. Glad to have you along. And we are presented tonight in FSN HD high definition. There's no score between Detroit and St. Louis as Kenny Rogers will go back to work here in the top of the third. Nick Stavanoa, the designated hitter tonight, will lead it off, followed by Kennedy and Brendan Ryan. Stavanoa picked up his first major league hit over the weekend. A little bloop hit. After the first time he was up, he hit a rocket that was caught. Why are we here for the third consecutive year?
Because Stavanoa's never seen it.
Okay.
You know,
that's one reason.
He wanted to see, you know, Comerica. Got to see Boston, Fenway Park, and now Comerica.
I don't get it. You play Kansas City 6 times. You see Chicago. Those two teams will face each other. New York and LA.
You know, I understand going to Kansas City. That's their World Series.
I don't necessarily understand them coming
but
to
they don't
St.
have
Louis.
to. They don't necessarily have to come to St. Louis because it doesn't do anything for the Cardinals draw.
Stavanoa left side and a base hit. Cardinals' second hit of the night. Last 3 National League champions. Here they are. Of course, the Cardinals won in 2006. And here they are. 2005 was Houston. They're 35-41. They're in a tailspin. St. Louis surprising the baseball world at 11 games above 500. And then Colorado off to a rough start at 32-45. Detroit, of course, was in it in 2006. and they are expected to get there here in 2008. Here's first baseman. That's right, if you just tuned in, first baseman Adam Kennedy. Last time we saw Kenny Rogers face the Cardinals in postseason play, it was Game 2 of the World Series, and there was a little something on his pitching hand, Al.
That was dirt.
That was just dirt. There was no pine tar, no sticky substance.
Boy, but it just didn't come off, did it?
He disappeared that half inning, and lo and behold, he came back out and it was gone. Just a little bit outside.
And he might have pitched better with it.
Yes.
Ended up going 8 innings.
He was great. He was an all-star that year, his first year in Detroit, and actually started the all-star game. 1 ball, 1 strike on Kennedy. Hits it down the left field line. That'll slice and get out of play. We've got a big crowd here tonight. They drew over 3 million a year ago, and they are expected to go beyond that again this season and beyond what they were in 2007.
They gave away replica jerseys of the '68 team. So that's a nice giveaway.
Mazda pitch speed, the high of 89, and 76 is the low. Celebration of the 1968 World Series team. Tim McCarver, I've asked him about it, and he said, we're up in that series. We're not even worried about it because we'll put it away. We've got Gibson ready to go late in that series.
Well, the interesting thing is, as Roger Maris said, you know, that was the year that Denny McLain won 31. And everybody's fixated on McLain, and Roger Maris said there's Al Kaline, but Roger Maris said he said don't even worry about McLain. We'll handle him. The guy we're going to have trouble with is Mickey Lolich. And he ended up winning 3 games, including Game 7 against Gibson. But there was a misplay by Curt Flood in that game out in center field, much like Granderson misplayed a ball in a pivotal inning in '06.
It's funny how things turn out. Mike Shannon, part of that '68 team in St. Louis, he spoiled Lolich's Game 7 shutout. He had a homer with 2 outs in the 9th, and of course Mike Shannon, the final call of the 2006 World Series. Kennedy is swing and a miss. Kenny Rogers picks up his first strikeout.
It's a slow, sweeping, breaking ball. Good location, down and away, out in front is Kennedy.
How about Mike on the pregame show? He was still
they were a little
fired up about that '68 series.
Something about it. He didn't want to lose a 13-inning game over the weekend, and still mad about the '68 team. You know, '68. I don't like Detroit.
I don't like to lose, he said.
Yeah.
He was fired up. Here's the shortstop, Brendan Ryan. Nice play on the double play off the bat of Cabrera. A hard hit ball to turn 2. And Ryan should get now an extended look at shortstop with Cesar Izturis on the disabled list with his leg injury. And you would figure Ryan would be getting the majority of those starts at short along with Aaron Miles.
Well, as long as he continues to hit, 3-game hitting streak, 4 for 9.
Cardinals in a stretch of 32 of 51 on the road. And they are one of the better road teams, not just in the National League, the best, but in all of baseball. They're 21 and 16 away from home.
And Dan, we talked about looking to the month of June and all the road games that we'd have a definitive answer of this team.
Here's a base hit to right for Ryan. Stavanoa around second base and on his way to third with 1 out.
Maybe we are going to have that definitive answer in a very positive way.
Cardinal fans, be sure to be part of this year's 4th annual Purina Pooch is in the ballpark. It's Sunday, August 24th, when the Cardinals take on the Braves. And tickets are already on sale, and you can find out more at stlcardinals.com or give them a call at 345-9000. Here's Brian Barton. So a pair of singles here in this top of the 3rd. Barton doubled to start the game. It's 1st and 3rd with just 1 out. A squeeze play is something you think about here with Brian Barton. And Barton was the runner over at third base. That was tagged out on a ground ball hit by Ludwig, and then the double play.
You got the veteran future Hall of Famer behind the plate. Kenny Rogers, a 215 game winner with 5 Gold Gloves. Guillen, the third baseman, playing well back, not looking for the possibility of a squeeze, but if you get that bunt down, it is very difficult to defend it.
And a ground ball to Renteria. Can't come up with it, and a run will score. One thing we have heard from the folks here in Detroit, they have been a little disappointed with the defense of Edgar Renteria, and in particular, partner, with his range. They don't feel his range is what they expected when they got him.
Well, comes up here and a little bit too quick. His mind, his hands are reacting before they make the play. They score that a base hit.
E6.
Okay, E6. That's proper. I'd give him
gets the
an
RBI. He does get that. E6 RBI on the play, and runners at first and second, and still just one out.
But you know, we showed that he's third in defensive percentage for the American League Renteria, but like you say, lose a step or two, a lot of balls you're not getting to. And that one, he just was trying to make the double play or the exchange, throw to second base before he really looked it into the glove.
Make a case that this is the Cardinals' hottest hitter, coming off 5 hits Sunday at Boston. It's Aaron Miles. Third game with 4 or more hits this season. We have seen in his Cardinals career, his hits come in bunches.
And usually if he gets one, you look for a multi-hit game.
Amazingly, he is interleague play's best hitter by average all time, hitting .367. Runners at first and second, the 1-0 pitch. That's a strike, 1-1. Miles at .367, then Wally Joyner, Larry Walker, Pujols, and Tyler Houston. By the way, good news on Albert Pujols. That's a minimum of 150 at bats, but Pujols is here on the trip, taking BP and feeling good.
I talked to him, and I don't be surprised if he's in the lineup on Thursday, the first day he's eligible.
Little check swing. Rogers spins, throws, makes the play. That's a good play there by Kenny Rogers, 5-time Gold Glove winner.
That's it. We talked about his ability to field his position, and that was a good example of it. Comes down off the mound on a swinging bunt, and no hesitation. Snap throw right on line and gets Miles.
Cardinals will face Armando Galarraga tomorrow. He is 7-2. Nate Robertson on the day game Thursday, and Todd Wellemeyer apparently will get that start on Thursday, and that's a key start because if everything goes to plan, he has a good start. Then his next start would be against the Chicago Cubs. Pitch a little low by Kenny Rogers to Ludwig.
You see Albert, good sign, part of the test. He's eligible on Thursday, and he says he'd be ready. The only thing we may hesitate is with a bad weather forecast. You may not, if it's a sloppy track, you may not want him to go out there and play.
Is there any doubt in your mind that he wouldn't try to play against Kansas City?
No.
Ludwig, deep left field. It's at the track, and the catch is made by Marcus Timms. Cardinals strand 2 with Pujols looking on. They grab an early 1-0 lead. They call it Hockey Town, USA. Red Wings win another Stanley Cup championship. Detroit was bounced in the NBA playoffs as they got to the Eastern Conference Finals again, and now they have what many are calling what should be the championship team of the American League, but they haven't played like it yet. Here's Gary Sheffield, fresh off the DL. He batted .154. He was 2 for 13 in rehab, 5 games at Lakeland. The 2 hits were home runs.
Yeah, I talked to one of the coaches for Detroit, and they said a lot of their season is going to hinge on Gary. If he is the hitter that they expect him to be, they'll be fine. If he's not, they're just stuck with him because he's got that big contract.
17 home runs shy of 500 in his major league career. But really, what does 500 mean anymore? Not what it used to.
3 RBIs shy of tying Andre Dawson for 32nd place in the all-time list with 1,591. So long distinguished career for Sheffield, but had a major shoulder injury, and you don't know if you know what he has left.
He was out with a left oblique strain.
Yeah, but he had the shoulder surgery in the offseason. He had a bad finish to the last season because of the injury.
It's going to roll and roll, get foul, and it will. It was foul, fair, and then foul again.
You saw Sheffield knows this field more so maybe than Gloss, because when he saw a foul, he started running harder to first base, knowing that it was going to roll back into fair territory. Gloss at that point had no choice but to let it stay with it, and then it had enough juice on it to continue to roll foul once it turned fair.
I always like to get your thoughts on this. Gary Sheffield, 9-time All-Star, 4 Silver Sluggers, batting title in '92. Is he a Hall of Famer? This one has popped up, and that'll find the seats behind home plate.
Well, I think that what you've got to bear in mind, as you said, what does 500 home runs mean anymore?
He's got longevity. He's been playing since '88.
I think the best thing is he's going to have over 1,600 RBIs. That may be more important than the 500 home runs.
Sheffield is called out on strikes on an inside pitch. First strikeout for Braden Looper. This portion of Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by your St. Louis area Kia retailers. Kia, the power to surprise. By Aflac. Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Taco Bell's new Frutista Freeze, available in 2 delicious flavors, topped with real fresh strawberries. Refresh your day.
My first inkling would say no.
Me too. But I think something that's going to hurt him is being linked in the steroid era.
That is a given, you know, and I didn't want to say that unless it was, you know, my memory thought that he was linked, but now that you say it, I know it's official.
Here is Renteria. And that's a strike on the inside corner. I do say this. I think Gary Sheffield is a little bit misunderstood too.
Yes.
I mean, I've talked to him before, and I've talked to people that know him well and really enjoy being around him.
He didn't hurt himself when he came out and made statements, and he was a teenager at the time. That, you know, while beginning of his career in Milwaukee, that he purposely threw balls into the stands to get out of the Milwaukee situation. That doesn't really help your case of being, you know, credibility with the Hall of Fame.
And he was a shortstop at one time too. That's a swing and a miss by Renteria. And how about Looper looking sharp tonight? Back-to-back strikeouts, and his first 2 of the night. The pitch count at 26, and how about that? 21 of the 26 have been strikes for Looper.
He's just at so much confidence when he's got that breaking ball going, but more importantly, the sinker working, or the splitter, everything that he can keep down. It appears it's a strike, and then hitters, if they hit it, they just pound it in the ground.
Pudge Rodriguez hitting .275 with a couple of home runs and 23 RBIs. 1-0 Cardinals. Looper on the road since May. You see what he's been able to do. And certainly his best start of the year was at Cincinnati back on June 11th. Hitter-friendly ballpark, and he went the distance. A 10-0 win, only gave up 3 hits.
Talk about throwing strikes. Looper's first pitch strike to 9 out of the first 9 batters. Rogers 4 out of the first 12 batters.
Pudge Rodriguez, no balls, 2 strikes. Question mark about his future here in Detroit, whether or not the Tigers would bring him back. And he has had just a fabulous career. Looper trying to strike out the side. Fouled straight back.
Does become a very difficult decision. You got a future Hall of Famer, and obviously you bring him back, cost you a lot of money. At some point you got to filter in some youth. You know, would he accept a lesser role? Would he be a part-time player? And those are tough decisions, and it varies on the player.
0-2 out to left center field. Barton is back at the track, at the wall, and we are tied. Home run for Pudge Rodriguez, his third of the season. And it's a 1-1 game.
That is his 15th hit in his last 31 at-bats. And that was after the previous 10 games hitting under 100.
And one of the tough decisions for Jim Leyland was to cut the playing time for Pudge Rodriguez to try to keep him fresh. And now he has bought into that. As you mentioned, the great numbers, hitting close to 500 in his last 30 or so at bats. So tie ball game. Here's Curtis Granderson back to the top of the lineup. Tails in there for a strike.
You really earned one when you hit it out that part of the ballpark, but with the original configuration, you had to hit it in the stands in order for that to be a home run.
406 feet with that shot. 1 ball, 1 strike on Granderson, the center fielder. Fly to center his first time up. Looper is from Magnum, Oklahoma. His uncle Benny was actually one of the lead scouts for the Mariners, and Looper went undrafted out of high school, signed with Wichita State, and had a very fine college career.
I played with his uncle.
Uncle Benny, right?
Yeah, played with Benny Looper, played with him in the Cardinal minor league system.
This is year 3 of a 3-year contract that pays him just over $13 million. 10th overall season in the big leagues. Little chopper that's foul. He'll be linked with Edgar Renteria in a trade as Looper was drafted by St. Louis, then traded to the Florida Marlins for Renteria. Spent 5 years with the Marlins, the Mets, and St. Louis.
Remember, he came to St. Louis the second time. He just had that little cleanup surgery on his shoulder. Obviously, it was successful, bounced back quickly.
I don't think anybody had any idea he'd be doing this when the Cardinals signed him. And at the time, he came in to be the setup man for Jason Isringhausen. He was fine with that. And if Izzy would not hold up physically, because he had some physical problems at the time, he would be the closer. Looper would be.
And a lot of people said, well, he was overpaid to be that setup man at the time, but underpaid as the starting pitcher he is today.
Vastly underpaid. It's twofold for him, wanting to stay in the rotation. Number one, he enjoys it. He has success with it. But number two, he's a free agent to be, and he's got a chance to make some money as a starter. A 3-2 pitch to Curtis Granderson. Kennedy is there. Looper to the bag and safe. No tag, and he did not step on the bag, and now Looper is limping in foul territory. May have gotten spiked too. I'm not sure if he didn't get spiked on this play.
Yeah, he was looking at it like he got stepped on. At first you thought an ankle. Kennedy made a nifty play to get to it, but a little trouble in making exchange to Looper. He throws it here, and it looks like it was perfect, and Looper just, you know, instead of just stepping on the bag, he tried to stop and tag him, and then got him in front of the base runner. And this is the last thing that Cardinals or Tony La Russa need right now.
Well, coming into play tonight, 10 players have been on the DL at one point or another, and they have missed a combined 496 games. And yet the Cardinals have a record of 44-33 at the start of play tonight. So that is his plant leg, or the plant foot. It looks like that he was spiked. He says he's fine. I think he cut his route to the first base bag a little short, and when he went to reach for the bag, he wasn't there. The Cardinals have been a banged up group since opening day. Yet Tony La Russa has found a way to win with this young lineup. Most players on the disabled list. The Cardinals with 10 players, and there you see their record. Yankees with 9, the Marlins with 9, and the Braves with 9. But the key players that the Cardinals have had out: Wainwright, and obviously Albert Pujols. Granderson a single, so that extends his hit streak to 12 games.
What about, you know, Carpenter, Mulder, Clement. Those are three projected starters that we haven't seen this year.
And we may see Mulder over the weekend.
Yes, he is going to be brought in to Detroit. Cardinals are going to evaluate him here at the major league level. And if you were to be a betting man, and I'm not, bet that he would going to make the start on Saturday.
They will evaluate him, as you mentioned, tomorrow. He'll throw on the side. Fingers crossed that Wellemeyer's going to make that start on Thursday. He told Brent Stover in the pregame show that he feels like $100. And will make that start Thursday afternoon. Here comes a 1-0 pitch to Polanco. In his time in St. Louis, we saw that Polanco was just the perfect second place hitter in the lineup, because he can hit behind, good contact guy, doesn't strike out much, he can bunt, does a lot of the little things so well.
There's a couple things to keep in mind. That after the infield single, the misplay at first by Granderson.
Hit to Troy Gloss. Over to third, low throw, and picked by Kennedy. 1,000 times Gloss has done that to Kennedy, according to Al Raboski. We're tied. Cardinals interleague action continues tomorrow against Detroit. The entire series is on FSN Midwest and will be presented in high definition. Tune in to Cardinals Live at 5 tomorrow right here on FSN. Fourth inning, and we're tied up at 1-1. Troy Gloss, Ricky Ankiel, and Yadier Molina. Gloss lined out to center his first time up, and the first pitch is a strike at 86 miles an hour. Interleague play 2008, the Cardinals and the Detroit Tigers will wrap up the road trip over the weekend at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. See if the Cardinals can't pay back the Royals after being swept in St. Louis. Who would have thought that the Cardinals would have taken 2 of 3 in Boston after what took place in those 3 games against the Royals?
Well, who would have thought this team was going to be 11 games over 500?
Yep.
You know who?
Tony.
Well, no, I say the players.
And the players.
And Adam Wainwright was the first one that from day one of spring training was assuring everyone this is a much better team than what people are giving them credit for.
Last couple of series for the Cardinals against the Royals, who are last in the American League Central. They scored just 4 runs, and then you see what happened over the weekend. The Cardinals win that series 2 out of 3, and they score 17 runs. Matter of fact, the Cardinals have won their last 6 road series, and we talked about it, 21-16 on the road. And normally you see if teams are going to win on the road, Al, and you know better than I, it's a veteran-laden team, and that's not the case here with the Cardinals.
No, because they can just put losses behind them and bounce back quicker. But Tony and staff have done a great job here, but give these players credit.
Pulled foul by Ricky Ankiel. He walked first time up and then was picked off by Kenny Rogers.
Had their misplay on Sunday by Rick that was instrumental in allowing Boston to tie it up late in that ball game, but they went on to battle for 13. That also would have had a 50-minute rain delay that with no rain.
Here's a ground ball. Yeah. Cabrera to Rogers, covering the bag at first, and there's 2 outs. 1998. Look at some of the faces with the Cardinals. This is interleague play as we flash back. June 22nd. It's Todd Stottlemyre. You know, Tony loved him. Bulldog for the Cardinals in their rotation. Stottlemyre, Willie McGee in the outfield for St. Louis. That's Royce Clayton at short. Brian Jordan, who's now doing some television work. Ray Langford, you see there in the on-deck circle. Clayton sliding in. That's Rick Croushore.
When's the last time you thought of that name?
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Rick Croushore, who was a closer at one point for the Cardinals.
Yep. He had a brief career and had a little funky pitch. Didn't last long.
A little splitter that he would throw.
A little splitter.
He threw fairly hard too out of the bullpen.
Yep, 94, 95. So apparently this what, the 4th series. That we can think of. You know, and that's
into center, and a base hit for Molina. MLB.TV. You can find us online at STLCardinals.com to check out every out-of-market Cardinals game live at MLB.TV. So base hit for Molina. He's 1 for 2. And it brings in Stavanoa.
talking about all the disablements the Cardinals have had. Stavanoa became the 9th, ninth Cardinal to make their major league debut this season. How about that on a winning team? A team that's 11 games over 500. Selected out of LSU in the 7th round of the June 05 first player draft.
230th player overall. He wears number 61. Slowly hit left side. Gloved by the third baseman Guillen, and out at first as Cabrera stays on the bag. Polanco, Guillen, Ordonez coming up. It's 1-1. Bottom of the 4th rolls in here on FSN Midwest, and baseball tonight is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. There's Lloyd McClendon on the right. Of course, Jim Leland right there. And Gene Lamont, former Pirates manager.
There's Gene Lamont, and also Jim Leland were on Tony's staffs with the White Sox.
Of course, Andy Van Slyke, who came up with the Cardinals back in 1983. Almost finished up in St. Louis back in 1996.
In a sense, he did.
First pitch is slicing towards left center field, and Keel has got it. Good jump, good speed, and makes the catch.
Off the bat of the left-handed swinging switch hitter, it's going to slice away from Rick. And still a sliver of sun out there in center field, illuminating his face, but you're right about that good jump, and then he hauls it in.
It's one thing they feel about Rick Ankiel that he does. You can see that he plays a little bit more shallow now in center field, as opposed to what we saw last year at the beginning of this season, is that they feel he gets better every day with his jumps.
I think he's a better center fielder than he is a corner outfielder.
Me too. And he feels more comfortable, he says, in center, which might be a little bit surprising, because if you ask any outfielder, they'll tell you that more times than not, the center field position is tougher than right or left. He's such a good athlete with good speed. He's always had that speed. Ordonez, the batting champion of the American League last year.
And you may remember, but we saw his major league debut when he came up with the White Sox.
White Sox, yeah.
And it didn't take long to figure out that this guy was a good, solid hitter.
He had a radical knee surgery, and the White Sox were skittish about giving him a long-term contract, and Detroit stepped up and made the move to bring him here to the Motor City, as their ownership said enough is enough, and they had lost so many games, but they felt that Ordonez was a key signing, and Pudge Rodriguez being another one. They may have overpaid at the time, but not anymore with the kind of success that they've had. They really feel that these guys are the cornerstones of at least turning things around here in Detroit.
Sometimes early in trying to make that transitional team, you do have to overpay just to get a guy to come to the losing environment and be part of the winning process.
The 3-2 pitch. Get in the air towards right field. Ludwig is there for out number 2. Sunday, August 3rd, the Build-A-Bear Workshop Day at Busch Stadium. Children 12 and under receive a free, very limited edition bear plus a virtual gift at buildabearville.com. An online world stuffed with fun, and it's all compliments of the Build-A-Bear Workshop at STLCardinals.com. You can find out more.
Seen the Clydesdale version?
I have.
It's cute, right? On roller skates. The one I saw.
I would say it's cute. I'd say it's a nice gift for youngsters.
Dan, when I say it's cute,
it's cute. Okay. I believe you. I stand corrected. So the question becomes, with a guy like Pudge Rodriguez, he helps turn it around, so then at the tail end of his career, is there the loyalty back towards him?
Well, and you hope that it's you know, that it's been a good situation for both sides to understand is, you know, hey, we will maybe compensate you, may not be as many years as you want, but you know, we're going to ask you to be the true leader that you've demonstrated and be part of the evolving process with young players.
Well, these two are former teammates, Looper and Cabrera, as Cabrera busted on the scene with the Marlins as a teenager back in 2003.
It's like he's thickened up a little bit.
Big time. I actually think he's lost a little weight, though, from even last year, or maybe even the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but you know, he's so much bigger than you really think. You see it when you first time you see him. I remember he came up as like a teenager.
He's a great hitter, outstanding player. That, remember, at one point he was an outfielder with a cannon for an arm. Played right field with the Marlins, and third base and first now with Detroit. Opposite field, pretty well hit. Ludwig is back, and it's off the top of the wall.
They called it a home run. Paul Schreiber, the second base umpire, has called it a home run.
And Tony La Russa is going to pop out of the dugout and get an explanation.
Well, that's one of those ones that Schreiber was going out there, but it's kind of that line drive where they say instead of running, it's easier if you get stationary and kind of don't have your eyes bouncing. And I think that the way that Ludwig's going to come in and talk to him too.
And Ludwig, you know, watching his reaction, he can't believe it. And I think, Al, just from the naked eye, I thought this was not a home run.
I agree with you. You know, well, now that looks like it got over the yellow line, doesn't it?
I don't think so.
Or no, I was watching a light or something. Because what I was watching was stationary.
That is not a home run.
Well, this is what they're talking about, getting the replays to see balls like this. Now, that's not a home run, but it is now.
So it's a solo home run for Cabrera, his 11th of the season. 44th RBI, and it's 2-1 Detroit. Now it's Marcus Timms.
There is a barrier out there, so it's no fan interference or anything else, but that's one of those. Now you tell me now. Now we're supposed to stop the game, and if the umpires were to say, okay, we think there's enough reason to have it revisited, it would go to a command center in New York, and they would look at replays, right?
Correct. And
then
they'd like
3
to
hours later, we determine what it was.
And they'd like to start this by August 1st.
Now, here's my question. Who provides the replays for them? If it goes for a home team.
Well, hold on here. The home plate umpire's having words with Tony La Russa now.
Well, because he just probably told him. Tony will stay in this game. He's just trying to say, hey,
I'm sure our home plate umpire is saying that's fine, but we can't change it.
Yeah, once the pitch is thrown, it's in the rule book, but it's in the record books. But who's going to provide the replays for the war room in New York?
1-2 is tap foul.
I mean, how are they going to get this replay and say, not saying our Bud Sports crew is can be corrupted or anything, but say if it worked against the Cardinals, would they show a replay, the definitive replay for the umpire to reverse it or work
these are all things that we must work out with this replay system.
Well, I know, but that's why I said 3 hours later we'll get our decision.
Well, that's one thing that is of concern, is that games are long enough. And they're always talking about trying to speed up the game. But I think you would be with me. You want to get the right call. That's pulled foul. There's also the idea of the human element of baseball, which separates it from other sports. There is replay in hockey. There is replay in football. In basketball, you'll see it at times. They'll go over to the scores table and use a replay.
Of course, Wally Bell, who's a crew chief on this umpiring crew, he said the last time he was working a game between the Cardinals and Detroit, it was in the '06 World Series. And he said, you know, one of the members of that crew threw out Tony La Russa and Jim Edmonds, I think, game 6. And he says, it wasn't me, but everybody in St. Louis thought it was. He says, it was not me. And I said, well, I'll tell everybody what umpire it was. And he goes, no, don't do that.
Don't throw my guys under the bus.
So everybody in St. Louis, it wasn't Wally Bell.
The count is full on Timms, who's been red hot. And a pull it foul again. Gary Sheffield on deck. Count is full on Marcus Timms, who popped out to Kennedy in foul territory his first time up. And a swing and a miss. 3 strikeouts tonight for Looper. Cabrera with the home run. Detroit their first lead. Let's take a look at tonight's Aflac trivia question. Who scored the only Cardinal run in Game 7 of the 1968 World Series?
Well, we already gave that answer, didn't we?
I didn't mean to, Al.
Well, let's see if anybody's paying attention.
Okay, that's one way to look at it. That home run spoiled the shutout for Mickey Lolich. Kenny Rogers back to work. 4 hits aside, 2-1 Detroit lead. We're protesting, though, up here.
Well, you know, the odd thing about it is the 2 runs scored are both home runs. And that is one thing. Looper has been one of the best in the league of not allowing home runs.
Jim Jackson right there, the producer, engineer of Cardinals radio and a noted mouse pad collector. Here we go to start the 5th, and that pitch is in the dirt from Kenny Rogers to Cardinal first baseman Adam Kennedy.
Had a big game coming off the bench on Sunday where he was 3 for 3, including that big double to tie the game up in the 9th off of Papelbon.
And he had high praise for the Cardinal pitching staff over the weekend. He said that's the best I've ever seen as far as pitching at Fenway Park against the Red Sox ever by his staff. All his years with Anaheim and now with St. Louis. And Kennedy pulls one foul. Are we protesting, Al?
No.
You're okay with everything?
I'm fine because I'm not a loser. I don't like to lose, and we'd lose the protest.
Yes, we would. Am I talking to Mike Shannon here or what?
Yeah.
Shannon was going crazy on the pregame show. I hate to lose, he said.
At anything.
At anything.
And we could attest to that, you know, playing golf with him. Man.
Yeah, you just go in and you figure on 18 some way, somehow, even though you might get a birdie or eagle, you're going to lose.
When you play golf with Mike, you have to win the last hole. Because if you win after 18, so we got time for a hole or 2. I just love how the ball changes logo and color sometimes in flight.
It has a way of doing that with the Moon Man.
Where you been, Mike? Oh, I've been over there. What do you like? Oh, I'm shooting for eagle.
And unfortunately, he's very quiet when he plays golf. He's got a story for everything. Mike Shannon, the one and only. He was on the flight up from St. Louis with me today, sitting right next to me.
Well, you know, Fox Sports, you know, they had to separate us. We had to fly on 2 different carriers in case one plane went down. We'd still have somebody here for the broadcast.
Here's a 2-2.
But I had a buddy, Jake Law. Now, Jake Law is 13 years of age. He sat next to me. He watches every one of the games. He asked him if I brought the heater.
And you're not talking about a fastball.
No, he brought
the actual heater.
He asked if I brought the heaters to keep us warm.
No need right now.
No.
A couple of hops to Renteria. But he is paying attention.
Oh yeah, Jake's 13. He lives in Grafton. He goes to a Catholic school in Jerseyville. Fredbird and I both went out there. He knows he either wants to go to Duke or Washington University. He's going to have 6 kids, and he named all the names, and you know, they were like, you know, Manny and it was like his favorite ball players, but they were, and 3 or 4 of them were like Hispanic. But sharp little young man, Jake Law.
Jake wants to babysit. I bet that number 6. That number 6 will quickly be reduced. Come on over to my house. He'll be questioning what he wants to do with those kids. That's outside to Brendan Ryan. 2 balls and no strikes. Ryan is the 9th place hitter for the Cardinals tonight. Out in front of a changeup that time. 2 balls and a strike. He singled his first time up.
And Kenny Rogers just trying to get you to off balance. Just kind of flipping balls up there. Curveballs, sliders, changeups, sinkers. Doesn't throw particularly hard. Throw like BP fastballs. Something a little bit below the speed.
Nothing over the middle of the plate for the most part with Kenny Rogers, who began back in 1989 with the Rangers. He's been with the Yankees, the A's, the Mets. He's had 3 stints with Texas. Now in his 3rd season with Detroit, his 21st season overall. He is from Dover, Florida, near Plant City, the son of a strawberry farmer. So baseball's a little easier. Curtis Granderson for out number 2. Pitch by pitch, Kenny Rogers and Brendan Ryan, brought to you by Chevrolet.
We're just talking about how he just tries to tantalize you a little bit off the plate, changes speeds, but you know, really it's all around the plate, nothing in the middle, and just keeps on giving you a variation. There he finally gets you a fastball that you hit out to central. Just nothing fancy, but he's won 215 ball games.
He's also pitched a perfect game. Did that back in 1994. Here is Barton, who's doubled and also picked up the only RBI for St. Louis.
I met his mom and dad during the All-Star break when he was a member of the American League All-Star team when it was played in Texas, Arlington. The strawberry farm.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I didn't know that.
Wasn't allowed to play baseball before his senior year in high school because it was in conflict with strawberry season. Probably didn't know that either.
You know what? You're right.
Useless information I'm able to provide.
I was about to say that, but
I'll say it for you. No problem there.
Now here I was thinking of something about wanting to save his arm so he could be a big league pitcher. And he's still pitching at age 43.
Still effective too. He's not just a guy filling a roster spot throwing him out there every 5th day. This is a competitive team expected to win the World Series, and he plays a real vital role for their rotation.
Last 5 starts, ERA of 1. I'll tell you how effective he is. Barton fouling that ball off his foot.
Is there another one going down here? Who's going to be the 10th new face we see? We don't need that. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs.
Well, I guess a candidate would be Kobe Rasmus, who hit a home run last night. I think it was his 11th and extended his hitting streak to 13 games.
Yeah, he started to pick it up. The 2-2 pitch to Brian Barton. We mentioned Mulder possibly making a start over the weekend Saturday in Kansas City. The Cardinals now have moved Matt Clement out of the rotation in Memphis into the bullpen. Has not been throwing the ball very hard. He's been throwing in the mid-80s.
And he's got about a week left on his 30-day rehab, so they'll have to make a decision there.
Crowd comes alive. Here comes a 3-2 pitch to Barton. He cranks it out to left field. At the track, at the wall, and we are tied. Brian Barton has both RBIs tonight, and the Cardinals have tied it up. It's 2-2. His 2nd major league home run.
How about that? And when he connects, the ball jumps off his bat, but an off-speed pitch out in front, but he catches enough of it and gets it on the sweet spot. Look at those wrists as he just pops a wrist. You know, at one point, the common denominator with home run hitters was the wrist and forearm. And, you know, barring guys like Frank Howard or some, you know, Boot Powell or somebody, all your home run hitters were really about 5'10" to 6'1", 180 to 205. For years, that was kind of the prototypical. You think about Aaron Mays, you know, Killebrew, guys like that, and then something changed.
A little different era of baseball. 370 feet off the bat of Barton, who was also doubled tonight. That solo home run ties it up at 2. The Detroit bullpen, they say, has been much better as of late. They've got Todd Jones as their closer. Dulce is a guy that was a highly touted prospect, is taking that 8th inning role for Detroit. They're coming off a road trip against the Giants and Padres, which they pitched very well. That's slicing towards a line and foul.
Recently, they got Fernando Rodney and Joel Zamaya back.
Zamaya, you might remember, is the right-hander that throws triple digits.
Who has the, what do they call the Nintendo guitar game that end up hurting his elbow?
All I know it is as a video game. I couldn't tell you is it Guitar Hero?
Guitar Hero, thank you.
Well, I saw you strumming the guitar, so
well, you know,
I've heard Guitar Hero, so I figured that's what it is.
Hurt my arm playing Guitar Hero.
Miles off the end of the bat. This may drop, and it will. It's a base hit for Aaron. He's on his way to second base. Diving hit first and safe into second. A 2-out double for Miles.
You know, it's little plays like that that you keep on getting reminded about how special this ball club is. You know, they're not content just staying with a base hit. They just want to push the envelope and try and do everything they can to get in scoring position. You test the defense, and even at the big league level, many times you'll be safe. Bang, bang play, but the hand gets in ahead of the tag. And I've got something for you to eat.
Did you go out to the lunchroom?
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Al.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to it. Here's Ludwig.
No way you can handle it.
Cheeseburger, I see. Detroit special. Here's a 1-0. That pitch is inside, 2 balls and no strikes. So the double by Miles And Ludwig is grounded into a double play with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. 300 average, couple of home runs. And he's also flied out to deep left on the track and left. The catch made by Marcus Timms.
It used to be a famous place here for cheeseburgers, right by the old Tiger Stadium, AC Lindell's.
You know, Tiger Stadium, they don't know what to do with it. It's still standing. The seats are still in there. They filmed 61, the movie, in there. And August 1st apparently is decision upcoming for Tiger Stadium. And there is a walk to Ludwig, so the Cardinals doing some damage here with 2 outs. Home run with 2 outs, the double with 2 outs, and now the walk.
Second walk allowed by Kenny Rogers, and you know that was a great success formula for the Cardinals on some of their past road trips, was what they could do with 2 out base hits and damage. AC Lindell had great cheeseburgers. All the ball players used to go there after games. And I'll tell you something, that George Brett did.
First and second for Gloss, and that's a ball.
That was, go in there, we order these greasy cheeseburgers and everything. And Ron LaFleur came in and came over to George and started talking to him, got some cheeseburgers to go, end up spending a little time. George took the meat out of the burgers and put it back in his to-go sack.
And
well, he went home with just a bread sandwich, you know, the buns.
You need to talk to George. We need to get him up in the booth over the weekend. He still, of course, is affiliated with the Kansas City Royals.
I will call him.
He always has energy when he's in the booth. He's got an opinion on everything.
He does. And we'll see if, you know, we'll probably have to fight airtime with Jim Hayes. Is he going to be there this weekend?
I think we have Brent. Upstairs to Gloss. That'd be good to get George Brett, the Hall of Famer, up in the booth. They're great hitters. Royals history and certainly in baseball history.
Great teammate. You know, Tony oftentimes talks about what good teammates the Cardinal players are. And George was one of those guys.
Time called. Big pitch here. 2 balls, 1 strike on Troy Gloss with runners at first and second. And 2 outs in a 2-2 game. The Cardinals about hit the Tigers 6-4. Outfield is deep for Troy Gloss. Time called again, and now Pudge out to visit. This is one of the infields that has that dirt lane from home plate to the pitcher's mound.
You like that?
It's old school feel to it with the ballpark. Do I like it though? Not really. Not a big fan of it. Nope. I do like this ballpark.
Oh, look at there. That's a little false hustle there, isn't it? Brent Stover working hard on the scorebook.
Here's a 2-1.
Brent and you both have the Bob Carpenter scorebook.
It's a Jim. Three and 1 to count. Little low, and it's back-to-back walks, and the bases are loaded. Tony always talks about competition. You watch Kenny Rogers and his reactions and talking to himself, getting frustrated out there. He is a competitive sort for the Tigers and their rotation. The summer heating up. Remember that it is always nice and cool at Merrimack Caverns. A crisp 60 degrees inside the cave. So if you're looking for something to do, escape from the heat, take the family out to Merrimack Caverns, located on I-44, just 45 minutes west of St. Louis. Merrimack Caverns. So good chance here for Ricky Ankiel, who walked back in the second. That's the first of 3 by Rogers. Then he was picked off, and he is also grounded out to first. One thing with Ankiel, excuse me, Al, is that with lefties, he sees that breaking pitch and a lot of times he'll reach for it and you get the ground ball. You know, instead of going with the pitch to the opposite field. We haven't seen that a lot from Rick Ankiel against lefties this year.
No, he's a little more of a pull hitter, but he's, you really give him credit, and he'll make his adjustments. Now, the one thing I found with lefties, if they make good pitches, they get him out. But if they make a mediocre pitch, he's got a good chance to hit it hard.
There's a foul ball. Inning was extended by Brian Barton with a second base hit. He has both RBIs, a solo home run, double by Miles, a hustle play on a little bloop hit into the left center area between Granderson, Renteria, and Timms, and then a walk to Ludwig and a walk to Gloss with 2 outs here in the Cardinals half of the 5th.
Ankiel, a 100 hitter with the bases loaded, but he does have 1 grand slam.
Rogers steps off the rubber. Now he's set. The 0-1.
Pulled the string on him, and that's an equalizer that a guy, a left-hander, usually what Rick can do the damage is the hanging breaking ball.
Nothing in 2, the count on Rick Ankiel. Hitting .217 against lefties in the hole here. Nothing in 2. To visit again, Ivan Rodriguez. Cardinals hitting .267 on the road this year, 3rd best in the major leagues.
Now, what would these two have to talk about? All the years together between Texas and Detroit?
I agree.
You would think that they would just by osmosis be able to read each other's minds.
Osmosis, huh?
Yeah.
1-2 pitch to Rick Ankiel. On its way. That's the pitch right there I'm talking about.
Just reaching to get a piece of it to foul it. Activity in the bullpen for Detroit. Can't hit that ball hard with that swing.
This big crowd comes alive. The Cardinals have tied it up here in the top of the 5th. Ankiel looking to put the Cardinals back on top. The 1-2. Hold foul. Molina on deck. There's a look at Duncan and LaRue and Kennedy.
There's your bench right there, those 3. Your left-handed hitters and your backup catcher. Cardinals playing 1 position short.
And Al, you forgot about Looper being your pinch hitter, but he's pitching tonight.
You can't.
Right.
Doesn't work that way.
No. The 1-2 again. 2-2. Miles, Ludwig, Gloss. 2-2 on Ankiel. He got him. Strikeout of Ankiel. Brian Barton, though, has tied the game up with his 2nd home run, a solo shot, and his 10th RBI of the season. Midway through 5. We're tied up. It's 2-2 here in Detroit. What's on tap is brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light keeps it coming. And a look at game 2 tomorrow night. Cardinals, Tigers, game 2 at 5 with the pregame show. Kyle Loge 9-2. Armando Galarraga 7-2. How about the start for Kyle Loge? Team leading 17th start of the season tomorrow is 19th against the Tigers. The first pitch is a strike to Gary Sheffield.
He's won 6 straight too, right?
Correct. And you know, if you're looking at the All-Star game, he would be one of the candidates for the Cardinals. Kyle Loge. Sheffield struck out his first time up, reaches for it. Brendan Ryan to his left, throws on the run. Nicely done. Had a shift on for Sheffield. He had a long way to go to get to that baseball.
Long way to go. Very awkward throw. Really had to kind of use the entire body to get something behind it, and came up with a good throw to Kennedy.
We understand that the bullpen is a little short tonight. As you see, the ground out by Sheffield. The range by Brendan Ryan is Chris Perez was not on the bus. He wasn't here at the ballpark. He was back at the hotel with a little bit of the flu, we understand. So we're not sure if he got back here.
You didn't. He was here when we came in through the lobby. He was waiting for a cab to take him back to the hotel with flu-like conditions. So we would assume that he's unavailable, and hopefully it's just for one day.
1 ball, 1 strike on Renteria. Struck out back in the third. Looper has been effective tonight with just 4 base hits allowed.
Doing the research I did, Chris Perez said that you prepared some food for him this afternoon.
There's a broken bat. Kennedy will flip to Looper. That's the second time tonight we've seen that exchange be a little bit uncomfortable. Kennedy and Looper covering at first.
Something that Kennedy doesn't practice on. The first one I thought was more Looper's fault, or not getting the ball and running to the bag. Here, once again, he's the one that's awkward. And instead of running parallel with the line, he's just kind of going right into the base runner's path. And then he had to readjust his footwork to step on the bag.
Punch Rodriguez homered his first time up. That home run is 3rd of the season, 24th RBI. Major League Baseball and the Union today met over Maple bats. We just saw another broken bat, that time from Renteria. Their safety and health committee about what to do with these bats, and it's not just the shattering of the bats, but there's also concern about the difference with the length of the bat and the weight, the ounces of the bats. When a player will get a bat, they'll shave down the handle, also take out a top portion of the bat as well. Easy inning here for Looper. 1, 2, 3. Some of the bats as we head to break. There they are. Molina, Stavanoa, and Kennedy coming up. This portion of Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. By your local St. Louis Chrysler dealers. And by Jack in the Box. We don't make it until you order it. It's Tiger Stadium, former home of the Detroit Tigers. Moved into Comerica back in 2000. Reggie Jackson onto the roof, and Cecil Fielder puts him onto the roof as well. Kenny Rogers back to work here in the top of the 6th.
Cardinal fans in town, and then there was a lot that were struggling to find tickets for this series.
It's filled up. It is packed tonight.
John Rooney and I had some gentleman come to it and said, "Stub up."
Molina down the left field line, and a fair ball. He'll dig for 2. Timms will have to dig it out of the corner. A leadoff double for Yadier Molina.
He's made a difference in coming back to the lineup. It's a Picks up his second hit of the night. Stays right down on it. Drills it out into left field. And off to the races. Ran out to short. Single in the fourth. Now a double here to lead off the seventh. The sixth.
Our Firestone leaderboard time. Nick Stavinoa is 1 for 2. National League team batting leaders. Stavinoa to the right side. Well done. Cabrera will step on the bag, advancing on the play. Yadier Molina. So the Cardinals as a team hitting .267. I'd like to see that unselfish play. Adam Kennedy now with a runner at third base and only one out.
You know, sometimes it's not easy to move Molina along. So saw a pitch down the way. He could kind of shoot it to the right side, and they'll draw the infield in now.
Kennedy, the first baseman, 0 for 2, infield in, and the pitch is taken low. Adam tonight has struck out and also grounded out to short.
Because of Molina running, I don't know if I'd even pull the infield in this situation.
Yeah, same thing.
Anything, even if they're playing back at normal depth, they could cut him off at the plate. And by playing in, you get a lot more hitting lanes.
Brendan Ryan on deck, 2 balls, no strikes. Cardinals, it seems like, have had the better of the opportunities offensively this evening.
Most definitely. Cardinals have 7 hits. The Tigers have 4. Cardinals have already received 3 walks. And Looper hasn't walked a man. He's had very good control last month.
Base hit to the right side, and the Cardinals are back on top. Adam Kennedy with a base hit to make it 3-2.
Molina may score on that, but that probably would not be a base hit if they have the infield back.
No doubt. I'm with you. I'm not sure he even scores on that play.
Yeah, I mean, he may not. You know, if Polanco's playing back, you know, he could probably come over here and cut that ball off. And even if he does, you know, they come up with the second out of the inning. Kennedy a bit wiser.
Brendan Ryan is 1 for 2. One out and a runner at first, and a check on Kennedy over at first, who's got about a 2-step lead. Not much of a lead at all.
Yeah, what happens, and King Rogers, the reason he has such a good move is, one, he has a slide step, and his time to plate is 1.1 when he uses that. But the rest of the time when he lifts, see, there's a slide step, very, very quick. And if he gives lifts the leg straight up, he's in a position that he can still go to first base at any time. And if he does a slide step at 1.1, and then you got Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate with his shotgun arm, very few people are going to steal.
1-0 pitch. Off speed pitch at 79 miles an hour.
With the leg straight up, and Kennedy was going back to first base bag at the time of delivery.
He's just so tough to get a read on.
There's only been 2 successful steals against him while he's pitched here in Detroit.
This being his 3rd season in the Motor City.
I mean, normally there won't be even tries.
Cardinals will wrap up, as I said before, the road trip with Kansas City, and then come back to face the Mets next Monday night back home. The Mets for 4, and then Chicago 3. Mets made a change with their manager, Willie Randolph, and it's paid off so far. They've talked about a looser clubhouse in New York. We'll get our first look at the Mets next week in St. Louis. There's a base hit right through the legs of the umpire. And Kennedy will challenge Granderson on his way to third. He is safe, and Ryan winds up at second base.
How about that base running? Brendan Ryan watched to see Kennedy. When Kennedy made the attempt to go to third base, he just follows suit. Granderson's throw goes into third. He just goes right into second. And this was hard hit ball right to the legs of the second base umpire. Kennedy sees that he can go to third base and get Brendan Ryan for following. Close play there, but Brendan Ryan, he's watching everything that's going on in front of him, and he sees that Kennedy's going, so he takes off and gets himself in scoring position, and that's a knockout blow for Kenny Rogers.
So his night is through. Rogers will exit with runners at second and third and trailing by the score of 3-2. Those two runners out there, his responsibility. And he quickly handed the ball off to Jim Leyland. Back with more on FSN in just a moment. We've got a crowd of 44,446 tonight. A sellout. The second largest crowd in Comerica history. Coming up later tonight, U.S. Cellular, Cardinals Live. Our analysis, live post-game interview. You also hear from Tony La Russa. All coming up on the post-game show here on FSN Midwest. Cardinals with a 3-2 lead, trying to add to it here in the top of the sixth with one out. So how about that? Middle of the week, and it's the second largest crowd in Comerica Park history tonight. So with the righty in, Cardinals can counter with Skip Schumacher, who is one of the top hitters against right-handed pitching this year. Dulce, who has been the setup man for Todd Jones, comes in at a crucial spot in this game. And Skip is late with the swing. With the injuries that they've had with Rodney and Zumaya out, Dulce gets a shot. He's made the most of it. Highly touted prospect that we talked about earlier, Freddie Dulce. Our call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chevrolet. 0-2 with a 2.70 ERA. The 0-1 to Skip. Upstairs. He can get it up there. They've got some guys who can really bring it from their bullpen. Rodney, Zumaya, and certainly Dulce.
Barton, while he was in there, made his presence known in this ball game. One of the reasons why Schumacher's hitting for Brian Barton is that righties are batting .216 off of this right-hander. Lefties are batting .308.
2 balls and a strike. Hitters count here for Schumacher. Homered in the series against Boston. Trying to get a fly ball here, if not a base hit. That's hit out of play. Doesn't that say something, though? They have the second largest crowd in Comerica Park history.
And you would think that you know, the Cardinals have had 3 straight appearances here in Detroit in interleague play, but I think it has something to do with the 68 champions that they honor. And John Warden.
Schumacher, broken bat, little floater, base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes Brendan Ryan. Throw to the plate is cut off, and 2 runs score, and Schumacher picks up 2 RBIs, and the Cardinals lead it 5-2.
You mentioned Schu was only 1 for 11 in the Boston series, but that 1 hit was a home run. But he had been swinging a very hot bat prior to that, and here pretty lucky, gets jammed but muscles it out there in front of Granderson. And you know Kennedy's going to score easily. You saw Kendall waving home Brendan Ryan, and when Cabrera cut it off, Ryan scores easily. It's a little jam shot, and right there you're thinking at the very least with a ball up like that you're going to get the sac fly.
Now it's Miles. Boy, you'd love to see the Cardinals be aggressive here with a young pitcher on the mound. He's just given up a base hit to score 2. And you've got a contact man at the plate and good speed at first in Schumacher. See where Miles was peeking towards third to Carlos Guillen. Fouled back. So close the book on Kenny Rogers. 5 1/3, 5 runs allowed. Gave up 9 hits. He walked 3 and struck out 2. First spot in the lineup for the Cardinals has done the damage. Schumacher and Brian Barton. The thing is, with Schumacher into the ballgame too, Al, you get better defensively. spacious outfield. Very nice ceremony for the 68 team prior to the ball game tonight.
Danny McClain and the aforementioned John Warden, they won 35 games combined that year.
John Warden was your former, I was doing a lot of research on this. He was your former roommate, right, in Double-A?
Yeah, for a short period of time, you know. The bags were there together.
His career against the Tigers, one game above 500 at 98-97 for Tony La Russa. Here comes the 0-2. And Miles hits it towards second. Nice play by Polanco. Out there onto first, not in time. But Polanco takes the hit away. And there's 2 outs as Schumacher went hard into Renteria out at second base.
Trying to disrupt the return throw, and you can see that he's still within reach of the second base bag, so a legal slide.
Well, Jim Leyland, by the way, should be familiar with Tony La Russa and the Cardinals.
Oh yeah, Tony's had the best of those head-to-head matchups between these two good friends, but Looper was apparently saw some of those replays we showed of, or the slides, the takeout slides we showed of Hal McRae.
Oh,
It was
did he see
all over
those?
him. Yeah, he was all over him going. As I said, anybody see that? He said, well, Looper came up to me and he said, I was trying to figure out who he was trying to figure out who he took out. And I said, Mac, it doesn't matter. You went after everybody like that. And he thought it was Roy Smalley.
Here comes an 0-1 pitch to Ludwig. Instead of check on the runner, Ludwig has walked tonight. He's fly to deep left field, flied out to the track, and also grounded into a double play back in the first. 95 miles an hour and a strike. Nothing at 2 with 2 outs. Winning that first game of a series so important. The Cardinals with Looper tonight. They've got Loge going tomorrow. He's 9-2, and then Todd Wellemeyer 7-2, possibly, and it looks like he will make that start on Thursday. Time called.
Much easier to win a series winning the first game rather than traditionally how the Cardinals this season have lost the first game and then win the next 2.
0-2 pitch wasted outside. There's always controversy when Kenny Rogers is on the mound against the Cardinals. It was pine tar or some kind of foreign substance in the World Series, and tonight
dirt.
The disputed home run call.
Dirt.
That dirt was really hard to wash away.
It's very tacky too.
Sticky substance.
Kind of blackish, tarish.
Great jump. And no chance for Pudge Rodriguez, and a stolen base for Aaron Miles. He had absolutely no chance to Pudge to get Miles.
Well, if you look at this young pitcher, he has a very long delivery. He has a high leg kick, takes a long time to get the ball to his catcher, and with a good jump, you should, even with Pudge Rodriguez throwing, you should have a good chance to be safe. Pudge dropped it, and guaranteed Miles got his first steal.
2-2 the count. Miles in scoring position. Ludwig looks at a ball low and away. 95 miles an hour. And from 0-2, the count now runs full to 3-2. And Ludwig, as we mentioned, with 37 road RBIs this season, just one back of Jose Guillen of Kansas City. 56 on the year. Room into left center for Ludwig. Broken bat popped up. Miguel Cabrera in fair territory puts it away. But the Cardinals get an RBI from Adam Kennedy and 2 from Schumacher. Tuesday, July 15th is the summer's biggest event. It returns to Fox Live from historic Yankee Stadium. It all starts with the MLB All-Star Red Carpet Parade presented by Chevy. You'll see more Hall of Famers than anywhere else outside of Cooperstown. That'll be a dramatic entrance down New York's 6th Avenue. Celebration July 15th. The All-Star game on Fox. Looper back to work. And now he's been given the biggest lead of the night, 5-2.
That'd be something if it's bigger than the Boston, you know, that's in the All-Century team.
That was something. That was a great night for baseball. Looking forward to it, though. The red carpet. Try to enhance the All-Star game, make it even bigger than it already is. Of course, it matters for home field advantage.
And of course, it'll be very special. The final one at Yankee Stadium. And then next year, I think it's going to be kind of special, the All-Star game.
In St. Louis.
Oh, really?
In St. Louis, Al. You, of course, will be working on getting us the best seats in the house. 2-2 here on Curtis Granderson, followed by Polanco and then Carlos Guillen. Popped up. Foul territory. Schumacher over, and he has a play. And Granderson is retired.
You know, Dan, we're talking about the maple bat issue with the Players Association. Apparently in the second inning in Kansas City today, the maple bat broke off the bat of Olivo and hit home plate umpire Brian O'Nora, and they had to leave the game. So that is an issue that's one of the concerns, whether it's a player, an umpire, base coach. You know, that last one that broke, it was when Looper was breaking towards first base, so he probably did not even see the bat go just right beyond him, just a little bit towards the third base side of the pitcher's mound.
Polanco up the middle and a base hit. You know, Placido does something that you rarely see anymore. He chokes up.
Chokes up, and it's not just a half inch or so, it's 2 or 3 inches.
I think it's more so this year than we've seen even in years past. And in years past, it only happened when he had 2 strikes. Just trying to put the ball in play. So Polanco, 1-out base hit. And it brings in Carlos Guillen. He is fly to center. He's also grounded out to third. He's 0 for 2. The Cardinals have a 5-2 lead. I was saying before how the bat manufacturers will send the bats to the players, and then all of a sudden they'll get them and then shave down the handles. You can shave those down. Also, you cut out a little bit of the portion of the top portion of the bat to lighten it up as well. There's a swing and a miss, and that one at 91 miles an hour.
You can order the cut bat with that, you know, a couple ounces cut out of the end of it. And, you know, it's like now they're so thin handled and there's no balance between them. So you hit a ball off the end of the bat and it just shatters it. The other aspect to using a maple is that there's no difference in the sound of a broken bat. And that's what fools players too. Sometimes, you know, if they hear an ash bat, and that's usually going to split or crack, but you know, they can tell it's a broken bat, but you know that okay, something might be coming at them. But on a maple bat, it sounds just like you make solid contact and you don't see the barrel coming at you.
Good pick there by Molina. It's 2 balls and a strike on Guillen. Third place hitter with Maglio Ordonez on deck. Looper has been sharp tonight, just 5 hits allowed. And a real key to his success has been the first couple of innings in which he sets the tone, doesn't allow the opposition to score, and the walks. The walks have been way down. Teams beat him, they earn it. 2-1. Slices out of play and foul.
We talked about how Polanco chokes up. That's one theory that you don't see too often, but look at how much he chokes up on the end of the bat. And this is Ordonez, where his little finger is around and off the bottom of the bat. That just doesn't look comfortable to me.
No, me neither. The 2-2. Schumacher will make the catch for out number 2. Mentioned before how the Cardinals, and let's give Barton a little credit. He has improved defensively, but he's not the player that Skip Schumacher is out and left. The 18th annual Christian Family Day at Busch Stadium. is coming up Saturday, July 19th. The Cardinals host the Padres at 2:55. Christian Family Day activities include a free post-game concert by national recording group Casting Crowns. For tickets and information, 636-227-9788 for Christian Family Day. Maglio Ordonez is 1 for 2. May have gotten away with a pitch right there. Ordonez almost came out of his shoes. Well, this transition for Looper has just been remarkable from the bullpen to the starting rotation. There's that pinky, the left hand below the knob of the bat.
You get excited every time you say that. Pinky.
Well, I'm happy for you.
No, I said you do.
Oh. Trust me, it's not that exciting. See, 19 of 22 he has seen tonight have been first pitch strikes. That's a key as well, getting ahead in the count.
Well, and that goes right along with this stat. Looper has not walked a batter in his last, including tonight, 4 starts. And in 6 starts was 7, it would be 7 starts overall if you add tonight in there.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Gets away from Molina to the backstop. So wild pitch. Polanco winds up at second. A sold-out crowd here at Comerica Park.
Watch his last delivery. Instead of trying to block it with the body, there Molina just tried to stab at it with the backhand, and very difficult to stop that one from going through.
Ordonez with 48 driven in this season. One of the top hitters in the American League over the last couple of years. Room into left center field. The 1-2. 2-2. Miguel Cabrera is on deck. He has homered tonight. He has homered off the wall and right. The ball that should have been in play.
I got you.
I told you, it's something about Kenny Rogers. Game 2 of the World Series. Controversy. He starts tonight. Home run in right that shouldn't have been. You following me here or what?
Well, he's left-handed. He's 43 years of age, so they let him do things that others don't let him get away with.
Molina out to visit.
3-2 pitch right here. We've got first base open.
The last thing you'd want to see, though, is Cabrera come up and representing the tying run. Rather leave him on deck.
Now Diaz calls timeout as Ordonez wasn't quite set and Looper was at the set position.
A 3-2 pitch. Looper to Ordonez. Here it comes. Check swing and he walked. So that is the first walk issued by Looper, and he knows all about Miguel Cabrera, his former teammate in Florida.
His first walk he's allowed in 4 starts. Cabrera said, he grounded into a double play. Just take a ground ball in the infield and get out of the inning. A home run to right field that should not have been.
He's 81 hits shy of 1,000 in his major league career. He signed a 7-year contract back on March 25th that keeps him in Detroit through 2015.
He signed that Juan Gonzalez contract.
Yes, he did. They had the money from Juan to Miguel Cabrera, and he said, I'll take it. Just a fabulous talent, there's no doubt.
Last 31 games, 12 extra base hits, 8 doubles, 4 home runs, and 20 RBIs.
Marcus Timms on deck. That's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, when these two were teammates, Looper was the closer in Florida, and he was throwing gas at the time. Mid to high 90s, power pitcher, back end of games, and now he's completely different.
I still remember his major league debut where he just blew away the Dodgers.
Good pitch.
In the splitter there.
That's the thing. He's just got so much movement on his pitches. He sacrificed that velocity to get movement like this.
See the good splitter and started out, thigh high, and then a bottom will fall out. Start that up chest high, and it may fall out of the ballpark.
5-2 Cardinals. Tying run at the plate in Cabrera. The 1-2 pitch. Reaches for it. Gets him to ground out. Ryan covering second. Detroit will strand two. And Looper out of a jam. We move to the 7th here in Detroit. Cardinals lead it 5-2. Kathleen Mayer is tonight's merchandise winner in the Hyundai long drive inning sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run here in the 7th, Kathleen Mayer qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. So Looper is through 6. The Cardinals have a 5-2 lead here at the start of play in the 7th. Pitch taken outside by Troy Gloss, slow and away. He is lined out to center. He's flied out to right. He's also walked. Gloss, Ankiel, and Molina. 5-2 St. Louis. Here's our Hardy's hot pitch of the game.
It was a big pressure pitch, a little breaking ball out there, and look at the hustle by Cabrera as he grounded into the force out at second base. But never embarrass yourself when you hustle.
Ordonez to right. He's got it for the first out. Dulce working in his second inning in relief of Kenny Rogers, who lasted 5 1/3. Ankiel is 0 for 2. He is grounded out to first. He is struck out. And he walked his first time up in the second, then was picked off. He came up with the bases loaded against Rogers back in the 5th and then struck out. A broken bat, shallow right, Ordonez. A lot of times you'll see him make that sliding catch in right. Noted for that defensively. Doesn't come up with that one. It was off the end of the bat, a broken bat. Ordonez, you can see he thought about it, but it's a one-out base hit for Rick Ankiel.
Got off to a terrible start on the road, first 10 road games, but since that time he's been much more respectable in about 280.
Molina with a single and a double, a run scored. He's also grounded out to short. When Kenny Rogers is in there, you think about the double play. He's one of the best at getting the double play, and certainly when Molina's at the plate, you think about the double play too.
If he hits anything on the ground that an infielder can gobble up, I don't care if he bobbles it 3 times, he's still got a legitimate shot of turning 2.
Cardinals have to be very pleased. Number one, doing it against a left-hander and doing it against one of the hottest pitchers in the rotation for Detroit. Prior to tonight, Rogers in his last 5 starts had only given up 4 runs. And here in this ball game, 5 1/3 and gives up 5. Short lead at first by Rick Ankiel, and Molina picks up another base hit. This one into right field. 3-hit night for the Cardinal catcher.
Got it because he doesn't strike out, makes contact all the time, and you can see him spraying the ball around and find a lot of hits. To the opposite field. If he gets the ball a certain location, he can pull it, but not afraid to hit behind runners.
The DH tonight, Nick Stavanoa. Cardinals on their bench are down to Duncan and LaRue, the backup catcher. That's it. They've already used Schumacher, and they had 3 available.
Just playing with an extra reliever.
Casey Fossum is getting loose in the bullpen for Detroit. First and second with 1 out. Stavanoa tonight has picked up a base hit his first time up. He's 1 for 3. First pitch to him. Down the right field line. It is slicing, and that ball is foul. Look at Stavanoa. He doesn't look like a baseball player. He looks more like a linebacker.
That's what he was trying to be. Trying to play that position in football.
Got to be a pretty good athlete to make that transition.
I was a good linebacker. I had it down to a science how to hit a runner to split second and relaxed after the whistle.
Which, by the way, how is your buddy Conrad Dobler doing?
We will see him. How about I bring Conrad up?
Kansas City?
Kansas City. We'll get George one day and we'll get Conrad the next.
That sounds good. Stavanoa, base hit out to left center field. A run will score. This will make it 6-2 as Ann Keel will cross the plate. And Stavanoa has his first ever major league RBI.
There have been a couple seeing eye hits in this inning, but they all add up. Ankiel, he might have broke his bat, and Stavanoa might have done the same. And there's that chief cheerleader.
I think he's mad because Molina didn't wind up at third base on this.
Well, but I mean, he might forget who's running. I mean, you know, Pujols is going to run through every stop sign, but that might have been a little bit of a stretch for Yachty.
So that's it for Dulce. His night is through, and the Cardinals have added to their lead. RBI base hit for Stavanoa. 6-2 Cardinals. 6-2 Cardinals. Nick Stavanoa with a base hit and RBI here in the top of the 7th. Our Geico quote: he passed the bar exam, and there were times when I hardly passed a bar. Jim Leland on the difference between himself and close friend Tony La Russa. He also talked about how Tony loves the interchangeable parts of a team, guys that bring just a certain aspect to the team, and Jim Leland has said this is the perfect team for Tony La Russa. Casey Fossum, our call to the bullpen, brought to you by Chevrolet.
Signed as a minor league free agent this offseason.
Runners go, and the pitch is hit out of play. Molina easily would have had a stolen base. You don't usually hear me say that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I totally agree with you, but.
Oh, Al, he had it stolen. Great jump out there at second.
I told you to get on third base, so he's trying to get there for you.
1 ball, 1 strike. Stavanoa, by the way, had a full season last year at AAA. There's a swing and a miss. Nick had 13 home runs, 49 RBIs. He's stinging the ball this year and gets the call up. One of many so far for the Cardinals this season. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Adam Kennedy, the first baseman tonight. Foul tip held on to by Punch Rodriguez, and a strikeout for Fossum.
Fossum, as I said, signed as a minor league free agent. He was at AAA where he was 3-0 with an ERA under 2. He had 48 strikeouts, 11 outings, including 4 starts for the Mud Hens. And then his contract was purchased on June the 3rd. He's seen big league action with Boston, Arizona, and Tampa Bay.
Well, the great hats in baseball, the Mud Hens. Brian Ludwig, a former Mud Hen, played the farm system for Detroit.
I thought that was Jamie Farr's team.
That's right. Are you a big MASH fan?
I used to enjoy watching it.
Me too. Larry Connor's introduction into MASH. The 0-1 pitch. Are you following me on that one too?
Sorta.
Larry Connors for years would introduce at the end of the newscast that MASH was coming out.
Oh, no.
So you missed the open for MASH every night, Al?
When the music hit,
you were there.
I knew MASH was coming on.
Slowly hit, but foul. Detroit at one point 11 games out in the Central of the American League. They start play tonight. Just 5 games out, right back in it, even though they're under the 500 mark. But Jim Leland has seen his club win 12 of 15.
And you start saying, talking about, oh, they're back, and the coaches will say, well, we're playing much better, but they're not quite there yet.
It's behind Ryan, it looked like, and runners advance to second and third. This would be a big base hit if you could score 2 here.
Really eased up on this breaking ball, and look at that. How did he miss it?
It's a wild pitch charge to Fossum. The count of 2-2 on Brendan Ryan, who has 2 base hits tonight. He's 2 for 3. Cardinals as a team, they banged out 13 hits. The 2-2, and Brendan yanks one foul.
It's kind of a self-defense swing. The ball coming in on him. If he didn't hit it, he probably would have hit him in the belt buckle.
Two outside. Stavinoa, could you imagine him barreling down on you at home plate?
I don't think it'd be more effective than Duncan, what he tried to do with Veritek, but
Brendan Ryan out to deep left field. Timms is on the move, and he won't get it. It's off the wall. 2 runs will score, and Ryan will trot into second base with a double with 2 outs. And the Cardinals have busted this game wide open. It's now 8-2. 14 hits tonight for St. Louis.
3-hit game for Brendan Ryan, and now he picks up 2 RBIs. That's a one thing. You know, he's really had not really amassed a lot of double RBIs. This is 2 more to give him 7 on the year. But 2 very, very important insurance runs.
Some of the folks starting to head for the exits. 8-2 Cardinals. Here's Schumacher. Hit towards third. Guillen spins and throws and gets Skip, who's 1 for 2 on the night. It's time to stretch here in the Motor City. 14 hits, 8 runs. Hungo is everywhere tonight. 8-2 St. Louis. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. And the first pitch by Looper to start the bottom of the 7th is a ball to Marcus Timms. Big hit. Brendan Ryan with 2 outs. His double scores 2. Timms right center, and Keel on the move. Can he get there? No, he won't. Timms on his way to second base. He'll stop right there as Rick fires it back into the infield. Leadoff double.
He's got great power, and he gets a little backspin on his ball.
Hey, did you read that from Jim Leland when he was saying about it?
Yeah, he was talking about Mark McGuire and who else?
Cecil Fielder.
Cecil Fielder, that's right. He hit the majestic long home run. I've read someplace, and I haven't really seen a confirmation on it, that recently he went through a point where he had 9 consecutive hits, and they were all home runs.
And what Jim Leland was saying is that he gets the backspin on the ball, so it allows his ball, in his opinion. It's rare that you hear anybody in baseball talk about backspin really with a swing, but it certainly applies to McGuire and Fielder, and he was saying the same thing here with the Marcus Timms, but it allows that majestic long high fly ball.
The high towering fly ball that just sails. And it was correct about his went through a period where 9 hits were all home runs.
There's Gary Sheffield, quiet tonight, not on this swing. Way out of here. Gary Sheffield has gone deep. 2-run homer. 8-4 St. Louis.
It's the 3rd home run, and all 4 runs have scored on home runs tonight. Or should I say 2+. One didn't leave the ballpark, but was credited with a home run, but no doubt about Sheffield's there. Only his 4th of the season in the first game back from the disabled list, and if the Tigers are going to do anything, They're going to need Sheffield swinging the bat like this. One of the quickest bats in all of baseball a few years back, and that still showed you he's got plenty of oomph left.
He actually wiggles the bat like that because his bat at times was too quick. It was actually a way to slow him down a little bit.
Timing mechanism to slow him down, and so
if they get out in a hurry when he hits him.
Coming into this game in 90 innings, Looper allowed only 7 home runs, and here already in this game he's allowed 3, accounting for all 4 runs. Slow walk by Tony La Russa, and probably an indication they're going to go to the bullpen. Is that Springer throwing?
To 95 pitches, still 9 outs to go, and it's 8-4. We've talked about this lineup of Detroit, how explosive it can be.
Tony hadn't made a signal yet. Want to have a conversation with the home plate umpire, Laz Diaz, and now he signals to the bullpen.
So good outing from Looper. 95 pitches, 66 were strikes for Looper tonight. He leaves 8-4 on top. So the pitching change for the Cardinals. Here's a look at Looper. He gives up 7 hits and 4 runs. And here is Russ Springer, who's been very good once again this season. 30th appearance on the year. And Al, now the ERA is down to 2.38. Remember to the rough start that he got off to, but he was used in kind of odd spots by Tony La Russa. But you know what? You need to get some crucial outs. He's a guy you can count on.
Yeah, I think right now he's reclaimed a very valuable spot in that bullpen and getting key outs. He has 10 strikeouts his last 9 innings, spanning 11 outings for a 1 ERA, and opponents are just 3 for 29 off him during that time.
Here's Renteria. Still nobody out. Detroit half of the 7th, and again, how big is that base hit from Brendan Ryan? It's short to pick up the 2 runs.
Huge. And how about the pitching of Springer over the weekend? Came in with a bases loaded situation. Manny Ramirez the batter, and he grounded into a double play, and then he struck out the next guy.
Renteria fouls it back. This would be a nice win for the Cardinals if they can hold on. Get the first win here in Detroit. And you're looking at the first 4 games of this road trip, and you've won 3 of 4. It'd be huge. The 0-1 pitch.
But this is a Tigers team that you just can't go out there and claim victory. You're going to have to fight hard for a hard 9.
Even though Perez, we assume he is not back at the ballpark, he is back at the hotel, is not here. We assume that. After what you saw from Izzy, you feel a little better about late inning situations after what he did in Boston. He looked as sharp as he has been all season with that breaking ball.
Well, and I think with the off day, you should have everybody be rested. Flores is like his floor is warming up in the Cardinal bullpen now.
And Tony has recently come out and said that he is backing Randy Flores. Even though he has hit a rough spot, pitchers go through slumps. Randy is in one. He said he's one of our guys from the left side. I'm sticking with him.
I have no other choice.
The 1-2 pitch to Renteria. Tied him up, popped up left side. Ross will give it a look, and it's out of play.
Sometimes you just have to, you're forced to use guys, and by showing a little confidence in them is probably an easy way for them to regain confidence in themselves.
Renteria tonight 0 for 2 against his former team. He is struck out and grounded out. A ball and 2 strikes. Detroit went out. They picked up some big names. Renteria being one, Cabrera being another, Dontrelle Willis, was in Jim Leland's office prior to the game, and he was asked about Willis, and they said he's still struggling right now, but they feel mechanically they're starting to get some progress from his breaking ball, which has been a real sore spot for him trying to compete at this level. Back at Springer, and the glove that's almost as old as he is helps him out.
Be careful now.
I'm not saying a word. That's a young man out there on the mound. Russ Springer.
A very young 39.
He said that's the same glove he has had, and I asked him the other day about it, since his second year in pro ball.
I told you there's only one reason that could be, is because it's Rawlings.
How much are you getting paid by Rawlings?
I don't get paid by Rawlings, but I endorse things that
You believe
that I believe in.
Okay.
You know, I was at
Give
Rawlings.
me some up top right here.
I was a Rawlings man when I played.
And you continue to be that.
And yes, I do. And Teddy's no longer with the company.
I'm concerned about getting our free gloves. Ted Sizemore is who you speak of.
Yeah, Ted's retired now, and hopefully he's enjoying that time off.
What a nice man. You know, every time I was always around him at
How
banquets.
much you getting paid by Rawlings, you know, for saying, or Ted? There's some good looking
he got
Rawlings
Luke,
gloves.
who turns 3 next month, his own glove that had his name on it already stitched in. How about that?
I would have really been good if I had my name stitched.
Your own name?
I mean, some of the equipment they got today, I mean, just think how good we would have been.
Amazing. I don't know if that's got the Russ Springer name on the glove. I'm not sure.
It's too old. It's too old for that.
Here's the 1-1 pitch to Pudge Rodriguez. Kennedy has to get back to the bag. He will in time. Rodriguez out by a step. Don't forget about the All-Star game. You can vote up to 25 times for your favorite Cardinal at STLCardinals.com. So Kennedy over at first. He was kind of shaking his head after the play. You realize he probably ranged too far to his right. We've seen that tonight. And then he tried to throw it around the horn and threw it wide. Off the glove of the shortstop.
Well, he's having to think too much. You know, I mean, and there's something about that where you just everything is instinctive when you play your position that you know, and now you play a new position for the first time.
Granderson takes a breaking ball and a strike.
That's a pretty exciting player, isn't he?
He is. He's got a little pop. He's got 9 home runs from the leadoff spot. He's got great speed.
He's got out to a slow start. And he's picking it up against the Cardinals. He was .429 average in his career.
He, like Todd Jones, writes about his experiences for a magazine. Todd Jones has done it for the St. Louis-based Sporting News.
And where does Curtis is right?
Curtis is for ESPN.
Oh.
So he'll be writing about his.
No wonder I've never read it.
His great moments in Detroit Tigers history. You can find out all about it. Do you read the closer?
On occasion.
I enjoy it. Out to right. That should stay in the ballpark, and it will. Ludwig is there. Gary Sheffield picks up his 4th home run as he edges closer to 500 in his career. A 2-run shot. Bam, right there. It's 8-4 St. Louis. Let's take a look at the game recap tonight, and it's brought to you by our good friends at Jack in the Box. Cardinals with an 8-4 lead as we move to the top of the 8th. Interleague play here at Comerica Park for the 3rd consecutive year. And Brian Barton gets a start tonight. A couple of RBIs, a double, a home run. Pudge Rodriguez would go deep. Miguel Cabrera with a home run off the wall. Controversial. Let's hope that doesn't come into play tonight. Adam Kennedy getting a start at first base. His first ever start at first in the major leagues. Casey Fossum still in the game, and here's the 2nd place hitter, Aaron Miles. 8-4 Cardinals here in the 8th. Miles shoots one out of play and foul. There's also the talk with that safety committee in Major League Baseball to put netting up in certain areas around the ballpark. We've seen the Cardinals extend the netting from behind home plate towards the dugouts on both sides. There's a breaking ball and a strike. It is amazing that more people don't get hurt at a ball game with line shots like Miles just hit right there.
Yeah. Some stadiums, they have screen back behind home plate. Some say like the press box, so cover the stands immediately behind home plate.
Of course, it was Aaron Miles at the plate when Encarnacion was struck in the face. It looks to be an injury that's going to end his career. And for people that want an update, Encarnacion has still been going to the doctors in Boston. There has been progress made, but not to the point where he could return. The 2-2. Tony La Russa was asked about that on the last homestand, and he said, look, at this point, you just feel for the guy. It's one of those freak things. It's unfortunate. And I was with Aaron in the offseason. He was asked about it, and he said, look, I can't let that affect me when I'm at the plate as much as I, feel for my teammate. I feel horrible over what's happened, but I've still got to play this game, and I got to be competitive out there.
I mean, it's just whatever it is, as a pitcher, knowing you could throw a pitch and severely injure someone, or like the foul ball like that, or you hit a ball and it could take a bad hop and hit a guy in the head, in the field. It's just part of the game you have to deal with. And it's a walk to Miles.
So Miles aboard for the second time. And here's Ludwig. I wonder what the Detroit folks, Dave Dombrowski and his staff, and Dave is one of the best in baseball, what they're thinking about when they see Orion Ludwig.
Well, they had him.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, they had him, what, 06?
Correct.
He hit like 31 home runs or something like that at AAA, and they never gave him a sniff of the big league shot.
And that's why I say that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And all of a sudden he signed as a Cardinal minor league free agent. Do the same thing at AAA, and then he got off to the good start and got promoted last year, and look at him this year.
And that's ball 2 on Ludwig. I would think at this point the Cardinals have one of the best records in the National League, one of the best records in all of baseball. If you're looking at all-star candidates, Pujols is always going to be there because he's Albert Pujols, and he's had a very good start to the season. But I think 2 names, maybe even 3 names you think about: Ludwig, Kyle Loge, and I think Molina too. You look at what he's done offensively, it's been a better year for him, and everybody knows about his defense. It's just a matter of how many guys can you bring from this Cardinals team on that National League roster.
And sometimes it's not fair, but because you're trying to fill out a roster, take a representative from every team, sometimes it blocks one of your most deserving players.
I don't know if you caught that, but the best records in the National League, the top 3 from the Central Division.
Right.
Very, very surprising.
And with Milwaukee playing their good baseball, they're only 2 behind the Cardinals now.
They've been one of the hotter teams. The Phillies at 42 and 35. We'll see them twice. Once at their place and one more at Busch Stadium. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and Ludwig strikes out. So Fossa gets the first out here in the top of the 8th, and it brings in Troy Gloss. Gloss is lined out. He's flied out to right a couple of times. He's also walked 0 for 3. With the good month of June, he now has his home runs up to 10. We were wondering if he was going to get to 10 at one point this season. A lot of doubles, just the home runs weren't there.
He's hit 8 home runs in his last 21 games.
And Gloss grounds into a double play. 6-4-3. Bottom of the 8th coming up here at Comerica. The Cardinals have an 8-4 lead.
Big moments in sports are better in person. This September, witness some of the world's best golfers, such as Sergio Garcia and Phil Mickelson, at the 2008 BMW Championship, September 1st through the 7th at Bellerive Country Club. Tickets are limited, so order yours today at BMWChampionshipUSA.com or call 847-724-4600.
Titleist cap right there. Of course, they're going to suffer here in Detroit without Tiger Woods being part of their big event coming up, but still, we understand that the BMW Championship will be well supported in St. Louis at Bellerive.
That's second time,
yeah,
for Bellerive. First time, 9/11 hit, and boy, don't even want to think about that. We're reminded about it constantly.
Here in Detroit, it'll be the Buick Open. Here's Polanco. He's 1 for 3. Polanco, Guillen, and Ordonez. Oakland Hills will have the PGA Championship as well. And there you see the second base battle. The Cardinals against Polanco. Pretty even, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And Kyle McClellan's come in here and trying to find the strike zone.
The 2-0 pitch to Polanco. There it is, right down the middle.
Kyle struck out 4 of the 5 batters he faced Saturday at Boston. He's second on the team with his 36th appearance.
The 2-1 pitch. Well, even from the first day for Kyle McClellan, and he saw the heart of the order of the Colorado Rockies lineup, which is very good. It's loaded. Which he had a scoreless inning. His major league debut, he just never has seemed scared.
No, he's gone out there. He's had a couple rough games, but he bounces back, doesn't weaken when he does have a tough one.
Good effort by Ludwig. Even better play to keep it in front. And Polanco has to stay put at first. Second base hit. He's 2 for 4. See why this Detroit lineup just doesn't quit. And you look at the names in it. Now you've got Guillen, and on deck Ordonez. After that, Miguel Cabrera. Still not out of the woods, even though you have a 4-run lead.
Rarely do you have a hitless night for Guillen at home. And
at home, this is a team that's batting .295, but tonight they've got 8 base hits as opposed to the 14 by St. Louis.
Again, a .358 hitter coming in to this action at home.
1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Where do you see McClellan fitting in? Because I have talked to some of the Cardinal people, and you hear that McClellan, not this year, but eventually will be moved into the starting rotation, maybe even as soon as next year. Then others say, I don't think so. We like him right where he's at even for next season.
Well, you know, he has established himself that he's going to have a prominent role. He has the ability, and remember, if he did not make this team out of spring training, he was going to be the opening day starter at AAA. Because of his pitching style and the pitches he has, 4 solid major league pitches, he could be a starter. But you know, is Mott and Perez, are those guys ready to be the, you know, who's going to be your closer?
It's a big question, right? Is it also dictated, in your opinion, by what happens in the free agency market, or guys that they feel that are ready to make that jump to the starting rotation next year outside of McClellan?
And I think one of the things you got to look at, you know, is one, you know, Wainwright is obviously under control. Carpenter, everything we hope is that he will have a normal offseason and be ready to assume his role in the bullpen. And this is a scary thing for a guy that, you know, is coming off a concussion. Is look at this with a backswing. Oh, comes back and clobbers Yachty.
That is scary.
Oh, yeah. And that was one of the reasons why they were, were saying, okay, you can play another position, but we're a little cautious. Most of the time you're thinking of a foul tip, but a backswing that clobbers you in the head isn't helpful either.
Interleague play continuing tonight here in Detroit, Michigan. The Cardinals and the Tigers. The American League has just dominated the National League, and it seems like we say that every year.
Kyle Loesch, what's his future? What's Luper's future? You've got Pinheiro signed a 2-year contract. What's Mulder?
Double play ball, 6-4-3 double play. That sends us to the 9th. Good work by Cal McClellan. 8-4 Cardinals. Cardinals baseball from Detroit is brought to you by Budweiser, who thanks you for being a designated driver. By Chevrolet, see for yourself, shop and compare at STLchevy.com. And by Sonic, it's not just good, it's Sonic good. Comerica Park in Detroit on a gorgeous night for baseball. We understand it could be rain tomorrow and again on Thursday. Let's hope that stays away. As the Cardinals, as we move to the 9th, have an 8-4 lead. You don't see that ERA very often of 1.35 for Fernando Rodney, the 30-year-old from the Dominican Republic, signed by the Tigers back in 1997. Had a couple of stints on the DL last year, and that's the case again this season. Hard thrower, a right-hander, and he will face Rick Ankiel to start playing here in the 9th. And the first pitch at 93 miles an hour is taken for a ball. Ankiel, Molina, and Stavinoa. Stavinoa with a key base hit tonight. Scored a run, and he's got 2 base hits. Ankiel singled and scored back in the 7th. ERA of 1.35, so a little leeway here to get that ERA down, even if it gives up a few runs. Gives up 12 runs, the ERA heads south. Two balls and 1 strike. This is supposed to be a strength for Jim Leyland. Guys like Rodney and Zamaya, Dulce. Oh, and that hits Ankiel. Got him on the hand of the wrist. Will it be a foul ball or a hit by pitch?
A foul ball, the vibration is what Rick is feeling.
Sure that didn't get him?
He's running in, and I think he would go to first base, wouldn't you?
Well, if I could hit the knob.
He's got the bees stinging in that hand right now.
It's popped up. Shallow center. Granderson under it. 1 away.
And my rookie card. There's Bob Stinson, Bob Chalupsa, and myself on that rookie card. And Bob Chalupsa, 6'8" and about 240. He was a basketball player in the Big East, and just threw about maxed out at about 82, 83 miles an hour. And he came into his first big league game and he had one of those ERAs that that 1 inning gave up 4 runs, and he kind of said, don't worry about it. Next time out you'll lower your ERA. Next time he raised it.
It's tough to do, huh?
But it happens.
It does happen. It's the game of baseball.
And people might laugh, but they would do anything to have an ERA in the big leagues.
You bet.
No matter high or low or in between.
Well, the question now is who pitches the 9th? We've seen McClellan. There is activity for the Cardinals in their bullpen.
Franklin is warming up. I told you the story about Bob Stinson, the other guy on that card. Call him Scrap Iron. 2 things about him: when Ted Simmons would go to the military and weekend duty, Stinson would come up from Tulsa and go and catch for the weekend, and he'd come back to Tulsa and he'd complain about headaches because the lights were too bright in St. Louis.
Here's a ground ball. Cabrera handles it. Rodney covering first, and they get him.
And I think you will remember the other story about Stinson, that nobody wanted to room with him on the road because he would sleepwalk. And nice play by Cabrera. Soft hands right there. Something he's never really demonstrated with at third base. Throws his pitcher cover. But he also had a Bowie knife that he would keep under his bed for protection. And everybody was worried that, you know, he'd sleepwalk and take that thing out and throw it at you or something like that. So whether it was true or not, he usually roomed alone.
What about your story with the hand grenade? I mean, a knife is nothing for the Mad Hungarian in Kansas City.
We got off to a slow start, and you know, they'd won a couple Western divisions, and I went over there, and I was the only change in the ball club. We got off to a slow start, and I said, if we don't win this thing, they're going to blame it on me. So I brought in a hand grenade one time and said, gentlemen, this thing will explode if we don't win. Kept it in my locker all year. We won.
So
Motivation.
But at some point, didn't you pull it?
Well, I pulled the pin, but I kept my hand on the handle.
That's smart, Al.
Yeah, but then I saw people get a little nervous, and I said, I bent the cotter pin. Somebody better give me some pliers.
2 outs, and the ERA is dropped to 45 for Fernando Rodney. Nick Stavinoa, 3 balls and a strike. The 3-1 pitch. That is a foul ball. I thought going into these 6 games, Al, and I talked about it earlier, if you could get a split, win 3 against Boston and Detroit, you'd take that. Now I'm getting greedy. I'm throwing that out the window.
Well, you were already mad because they didn't sweep.
I was upset. I thought that was a game they very easily could have won.
Well, absolutely. They very easily could have won. And
do I applaud the effort? Absolutely.
Tony applauded the effort of his team, a hard-fought battle, and they won the series.
Out to center, Granderson. Fernando Rodney has his ERA out of triple digits, and an easy 1-2-3 inning, and Franklin coming in.
Back at Comerica Park after the game, it's U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. It's Pat Paris and Rick Horton in studio. They're going to break down another great start and really a great last 3 starts for Braden Looper. We're also going to talk about Kenny Rogers and whether or not that's a balk or just a legitimate pickoff move at first base. And of course, post-game comments from Tony La Russa and the rest of the guys. U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, by the way, gentlemen, it's Springsteen night, so they will honor tonight the second best musician ever to come from the state of New Jersey. Dan, Al?
Okay, Brent, thank you. Who would be the first, Brent?
Who's going to honor him?
John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi ahead of Springsteen? Is that what you just said?
Oh.
Okay, Brent, looking forward to the post-game show.
You just lost your credibility, Brent.
Here is Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera looks at a strike.
You got to give Brent the bulldog against the cat. I think the cat would want to fight him on that one.
What is
you think cat would back Bon Jovi?
Help me along here. Did I miss something? We're in Detroit.
Yeah.
I don't get the New Jersey connection.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out too.
Did I miss something?
The Tigers going to honor him, or the studio going to honor him?
Backing up Cabrera. On that play is Ryan.
Look at that.
Low in the dirt.
Look at that pick.
And Kennedy, a nice pick over at first.
Well, Franklin throws a ground ball. It backs up. But look at, not a lot of hustle there. And I don't think there's a leg injury or anything reason to. But that just doesn't look good, does it?
No, it doesn't. Especially when you've signed that kind of contract. Or
I guess he's pulling all the zeros down the line.
Even if you're from you know, the point of view of making a minimum. It doesn't matter. Just hustle. You're in the major leagues.
All you have to do it is 4 times tonight, right?
It just looks not the best, like you said. Now, will somebody please answer me the question of the New Jersey-Detroit connection?
I'm right along with you. Like, what are we missing here?
It was the 3rd point in the bullet points that Brent was giving.
But is that the studio?
I don't know.
Is that Ricky and Pat are going to honor?
Studio gentlemen, evidently Bruce Springsteen going to have a concert in St. Louis coming up very soon. So our producer Max Linewan wanted to honor him. So it's going to be a Bruce Springsteen night. And to be quite honest, guys, I just read what they tell me. You know me, I'm not. I don't know how to ad lib.
Hey, Brent, is Ricky going to dress up like Springsteen?
I'm excited to find out. I hope so. I'm definitely hoping he and Pat Paris going to slick back the hair and dress up and play the part.
There's nothing like Shakespeare night. Here's Gary Sheffield, who was homered. All right, we're looking forward to it.
Looking forward to a ground ball double play.
Sheffield is 1 for 3. And that pitch is in there for a strike.
This is Franklin's first appearance since that 44 pitch 2-inning save on Friday night in Boston. Nice that he could get a couple days off and come back here.
The 0-1. Hanging breaking ball lifted out to left. Schumacher is there for out number 2. Let's take a look at our Budweiser great player of the game. As Looper is in line for another win tonight, which would be number 9. Is he our great player of the game? Who might it be? We go with Brian Barton, the Cardinal leadoff man tonight. Started things off with a double. That was in the 1st. Also picked up an RBI in the 3rd. And then the home run in the 5th on a 3-2 pitch.
Had the first 2 RBIs of the game for the Cardinals.
And the leadoff spot, which was Barton's and now Schumacher's, have provided 4 RBIs.
Skip pinch hit for Brian Barton. Got that big 2 RBI single. So Cardinals have had 14 hits in this game.
Oh, and 2 is the count. Here's the 0-2. Tapped out in front, slowly hit, and a base hit for Renteria.
Like no communication between Molina and Franklin as they both mildly collide and guarantee that nobody could feel the ball. This little swinging bunt.
Big Cardinal fans, Lewis and Grace Kurtz, celebrating their anniversary tonight. Back home in St. Louis and watching the ball game on FSN Midwest. So happy anniversary to Lewis and Grace Kurtz.
Anderson, the on-deck hitter, represents a tying run.
It's interesting now as Rodriguez pops it up. Kennedy will give it a look. You know, you go back to that play, Al, to start the inning by Kennedy. That was a heck of a pick. That was not an easy play over at first.
No, it wasn't. You know, Brendan Ryan threw a great sinker to him, but backed up on the play, didn't have enough arm, and short hops Kennedy, who's playing first time ever at first base, and he scooped a couple balls out of the dirt tonight.
The 0-1 pitch to Pudge. Almost hit him and almost brought the tying run to the plate. 1-1. Rodriguez with a home run his first time up. He's 1 for 3 on the night. This crowd has come alive again. The Cardinals up by 4 runs here in the bottom of the ninth. The 1-1 pitch. Into the seats. Watch out.
Started out honoring the 1968 Detroit Tigers, world champions. And in brilliant fashion, we've got 68 degrees for the final pitch of the game.
First and second, the 1-2 pitch to Pudge Rodriguez. Here it comes. Backhanded by Kennedy. Franklin to the bag, and the Cardinals take game 1. Great play by first baseman Adam Kennedy to end it. Heck of a play. Cardinals take game 1 here at Comerica Park. 8-4 the final. Stay tuned. It's the postgame show next.
Game is over with a Cardinal victory. Ricky Horton and I, though, standing by to break down tonight's game on U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. Yeah, that wasn't all that hard, right?
Cardinals have won 6 straight road series, Pat, and they got a good start here against Detroit.
They sure did. We'll go talk much more about that coming up on U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. The Cardinals facing Kenny Rogers for the first time since Game 2 of the '06 World Series. We'll see if the lefty has washed his hands yet. Speaking of being filthy, that's exactly what Braden Looper's been over the last 2 weeks. We'll hang out with Mr. Looper and break down his latest start. And we'll take you inside the Cardinal clubhouse in Detroit for player reaction, have Tony La Russa's comments as well. Plus, we'll celebrate the boss coming to St. Louis. Don't go anywhere. U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is next.